like ice, tracing all my scars. Why is it hurt on the inside? It's unforgivable, but I forgive you every time. Hard to let it go, 'cause we're intertwined. I break you, you break me, but something about that makes us so, baby. Every piece keeps us together in the cold. Oh, oh, oh. love you, I do need you, I do, I love you, I do need you, I love you, I do need you, I love you, I do need you.
Hello everybody and welcome to the UK Schools versus Universities, where we're going to be seeing Northgate 6th facing up against three of our university teams. That's going to be Cambridge Carballs, Essex and UEA. I'm one of your casters for the day. I'm Killsync, and joining alongside me is Achinal. Hello Achinal.
Hello. Good to be here. And yeah, I mean, I was watching the Sunderland Seers the other week and I was pleasantly surprised by their performance. So hopefully Northgate can pull off something similar today.
Yeah, that was quite a demanding performance, actually. From what from what I saw, I think that was probably definitely an underestimation on everyone's behalf on what they could actually achieve, because they came in and obviously rolled over quite a few of the big boys, as we'll call them in the university scene. Here, obviously, kicking off the actual show today, shall we say? Cambridge are not. I mean, notoriously not one of the big boys in the university scenes. They're that slight bit lower, but this is a good opportunity to see what Cambridge have to offer and what Northgate 6th have to offer. Because the one thing we need to mention is that with regards to Cambridge, they've potentially got a better third player coming in next year in Treefork, who has played alongside the likes of Psycho, who is established when it comes to the Rocket League scene and playing at those high ranks. Yeah. But at the moment, they're just kind of playing with Killing Time and then a few lower level players. Now, Killing Time might be a GC, which we know, but obviously one of the other players we've been made aware of, Truthin, is a Diamond. Now, chemistry-wise, I've been on those teams where you've got a GC and you've got the Diamonds, and it's difficult sometimes to build up that chemistry. But still, it's a difficult game to win regardless. So it'll be good to see what Northgate bring into this.
Yeah, I mean, you know, the idea, of course, is that it's a show for Northgate. This is their thing. They made it to second in the BEA Spring Split, and they did really well. And they've tried, you know, to set this all up, and we've helped them by getting these three uni teams to play against. But this is predominantly about them more than any one of the university teams on their own. So You're right. The Cambridge match, for them, they would hope as well, I think, should be a bit of a warm-up. They get their nerves out of the way. They should dispatch this Cambridge team, and then we sort of ramp up the difficulty with Essex and then with UEA, who we saw do so well in the stay-at-home series. So hopefully this Cambridge game should just be a chance for Northgate to, like you say, show us what they can do, get a bit more comfortable playing like this in a setting they're not used to. And yeah, we'll just have to see what happens, I think.
Yeah, and with that, we will get underway with this match as the teams obviously start to join. They're going to be excited. They're going to be looking, I think both teams really are going to be looking to get their name out there to show us what they're capable of. But we have had a slight issue starting off because we have fantastic bots joining us. Bot Scout and Bot Gerwin. Something gives me the idea that potentially they're not meant to be part of the teams. Now, fortunately, don't panic. Aptly named. We're not going to panic. I think it's fair to say the team should probably leave. We should probably have a little bit of a change up of the match settings.
Yes. I mean, 4v4 was fun when NSC did it the other week, but you need 4 players, really. I think it's fair to say having German and Scout on your team is not going to end well for anyone. So we'll reset that, get some actual proper 3v3 underway. And yeah, I think Northgate, that's exactly the kind of thing they would want, really. Just to show that actually, maybe it's not just them that the pressure's on.
Yeah, and I've got to admit, for anybody who has played with a bot, will probably confirm playing with a bot is not like playing with a 4th player, to be honest. It's like playing with a -1 player, because they chase harder than Champ 2 stuck in Champ 1 saying, I was Champ 3 last season, I don't know why now. And it's because you chase the ball. You should stop that. And if you're going to do it better.
Well, exactly. I mean, that's the thing, is that we've seen, I think it's fair to say at that point, to interject about the Sunderland Seers and some of the teams they were playing, chasing can be done well. If you do it right, you pick your moments and you go for the right balls. But like you say, the bot will just drive around after everything it can see, which is not a fantastic strategy for winning plenty of games. So hopefully on a 3v3 pitch, we won't be seeing play too similar to that of a bot from either side. But yeah, I think this Northgate team, they'll need maybe a game, maybe 2, just to sort of settle in, dispatch any nerves they might have. Because, obviously they've played in the BEA finals, but this isn't a setting they've been in before. I think they'll feel like they're, even though Cambridge aren't established, like we were saying, I think they'll feel like they're up against the big boys. This is a uni now. It's different,
Yeah, and I mean, I'm actually quite excited, because at the same time, like we know that it's not one of the big boys. We mentioned it. That's been said now. But the point is that at the end, we know that UEA have got through to that stay at home. Like, they've gone through the stay at home series for NSC. Like, they've done well. They are an established team who, when they replaced Zorti, that's not to say Zorti is bad, but Dizzy came in and just fitted the role a little bit better. So that will be a difficult game for them. But we finally don't have any bots in the game, although we've got players named like bots. Thank you very much, Merc. You're going to make my job a whole lot easier for this game. But kicking off, and now Sushi looking to challenge into the corner, and Awesome is up early, and a whiff from both players, and just trying to get in the way. Killing Time manages to get the block on, and a good 50, and Merc can't get there in time, and Sushi getting the first goal. Easy enough, right?
Well, yes. Really very, Druthin a bit slow to that. Merc not quite positioned correctly in goal. But, like we said, I think there's going to be an element of nerves in the first game. So hopefully both teams will warm into this series a bit more than that.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen a game start off with no mistakes. No. I think that is reserved for the absolute upper echelons of Rocket League play. Sushi challenging into that corner, trying to get some sort of pass off into center. Tommy D getting a good 50 in the middle there, as we see Merc coming in with a great flower boost as well. Awesome, just putting it towards target, but Druthin with an easy clear. Sushi looks to put it back into the center instead. A little bit of a miss hit, drops it into the corner. Killing Time doesn't make the contact. Merc puts it back into that corner, but a dangerous pass through center. Sushi's there, but the miss from Sushi and Druthin as Tommy passes it back to Awesome. Awesome not quite ready for it, popping it over to the side, looking to get that double touch. Merc aiming for the target, but Sushi's there early to get that hit.
Yeah, both teams definitely showing their nerves here. I'm noticing Killing Time's got a nice little notification for all of us that he's playing on new controls. So I'm sure that'll come out if Cambridge don't do quite as well as they would have expected. But of course, both these teams, a minute and a half in, things will start to settle, and hopefully some of the touches will become a bit more refined.
Yeah, a bit of a mishap in rotation from Merc there, just rotating around to the front post instead of that back. But Druthin off onto the sidewall, getting the touch to take it over that second man, as Sushi's going to look to try and control this instead. Hit off of the roof, looks for the read, looking to take control again, but allowing now Tommy D to come over the top, and the miss from Druthin means Killing Time's got to come over the top there. Sushi can't make the touch, Tommy D can't make the touch, and Killing Time now has the opportunity to pass it center, but with limited boost isn't going to be able to do it. Tommy D off of the back wall, and that's a good pass. Awesome following that up, and Awesome with the second goal for this Northgate team. Yeah,
I mean, both teams, I think, playing perhaps a little bit scrappily at the moment, but there's a noticeable difference. We're seeing, certainly I think it's fair to say, the Cambridge team just making some mistakes. And the Northgate team seem to be, they're getting the touches, just not quite in the places that they want them to be or with the power that they need. But I think they're certainly seeming like the team that if they can get these kind of little problems ironed out, will certainly take an iron grip on this series.
Definitely. Druthin trying to challenge that into the center. Sushi accidentally hitting that back, leaving it to Awesome to try and clear it straight into the path of Merc, looking for the shot on target. Sushi with a nice hit off of the backboard, but not nice enough to take it past Killing Time as Tommy D looks to follow that one up. Merc misses, but we also see Sushi miss as Awesome gets a good 50, looking for the block on Killing Time as well. Double commit on the side of Northgate as Tommy D looks to take that 100 demoed before he can reach it. Killing Time will have that boost now and will have everything to play with, but Merc and Druthin with the double commit as Tommy tries to get it clear, but cleared straight into the path of the opposition as Killing Time looks to create some sort of play, but at the moment the positioning just isn't really there, I think it's fair to say, from this Cambridge team.
Positioning isn't really there from either team, and while Sushi could nail a double tap, I think Northgate will be looking more to play like a bit more of a team than three individuals. A fantastic work from Sushi to get up quickly, but this Northgate team I think have more to give.
Yeah, and I have to admit, I'm quite glad to see that from Sushi there. That was a really, really nice goal. The double touch going up so early for that as well. Credit to him, especially since, like we've mentioned, the nerves usually are there in the first game, and you really would expect the nerves to be there on this Northgate team. What with playing some of the university teams, the ones that, you know, when they look at going to university, if they look at going to university, these are the kind of players they're going to be up against. So it's good to get in there early and see what kind of competition you're going to be put up against. The Sushi really showing a bit of offensive prowess, getting the block and getting the bump onto Killing Time as Awesome looks to 50 with Druthin. Tommy looking for the angle for the shot there. That was actually quite nice. And then looking to go reback for the block. Sushi going up for that double. Again, can find it. It's going to waterfall down in front of goal there as Awesome looking for the follow but can't make the contact.
Yeah, I think it's interesting what you were saying there about, you know, these school lot obviously looking perhaps to go to uni in the not too distant future. And we picked three fairly local universities for this Northgate team to play against them. It's an interesting dynamic. We saw this with the Sunderland Sears the other week. Half the time, so in this first match certainly, Northgate are the ones that have something to lose. You know, I think they're probably aware, if they've done their research, that this is a game they can win. And so the pressure is on them, or seems to be responding very well to it. But as this series, as this night of games progresses, suddenly it's the uni teams that have little to gain but quite a lot to lose, and it's an interesting aspect of psychological pressure for them.
And it's something that I think Sunderland weren't quite expecting last week either. I think they were expecting the university teams to pull out a bit more of a shift, shall we say.
Well,
but instead they just panicked a little bit. But again, we're probably going to see a fifth goal coming through, but Druthin managing to recover well. They're able to get the block on, but 4 goals, and this game right here is completely done for. But as Killing Time comes in, the bumps coming through from Merc onto the defenders for this Northgate team. Tommy is going to be looking for the double touch there, isn't going to be able to find it. Sushi popping out for Awesome looking for the target, but just finding the crossbar, can't creep underneath as Tommy retreats back for the 100 boost into his own corner. They don't need to score any more goals, but they definitely will take it if they can. As Sushi pops it up, and the goal gets scored as 5-0 goes the way of Northgate in this first game of the series.
Yeah, and I mean, you know, if we were ones to be writing scripts, that's how we'd be writing it, really, isn't it? This is about Northgate and what they can do, and they've really shown us what they can do in the first game of this best of 5, but they won't be entirely happy, I don't think, or certainly I'm not quite entirely satisfied that some of the touches there that they made, you saw, I think it was Awesome, laser a shot off the crossbar, had plenty of net to aim at, with 12 seconds left, banged it off the crossbar. Obviously in this game, makes no difference, but going up against this Essex team and this UAA team that they've got to come, that's not a mistake they can afford to make regularly.
I completely agree. And I think one of the other problems they're going to have is the step up, in my opinion, from Cambridge to Essex is huge. The step up from Essex to UEA, it's big, but it's nowhere near the step up that you're talking from Cambridge to Essex. Now, that for them, it's going to be a problem if, and we see this a lot, and we talk about it a lot in various different matchups that we see. the problem they've got is going into it thinking, oh, well, we've just absolutely blitzed Cambridge. We've rolled through them. They provided no problem for us whatsoever. And then they come and play Essex, and they play in the same manner that, we saw them play against Cambridge. And then they realize, oh, wow, no, we can't do that. No, that does not work. No. It turns out Essex are more capable of clears. The one thing I think we've been really missing so far is when a team is struggling, when a team is feeling the pressure, the clears just aren't coming. They're nowhere to be found. We're not seeing big clears out to allow a team to reset on defense. That is definitely something higher level teams will take the time to do, and they will definitely use the ball in better ways. But at the moment, both teams really need to get their passing plays together if they're going to be beating teams like Essex.
I mean, yes, you're very right. And while I rate the confidence, I think that was Sushi on a massive pre-jump. It's going to cost them, even against this Cambridge team, but certainly against bigger teams. To be trying to pull off plays like that is admirable. If you're going to do it, you have to make it work.
Yeah, and I will admit there, Awesome, in my opinion, wasn't really in too much of a wrong. I have almost never seen a chase come that hard for a bump off of a back wall in my life so far. But it's one of those ones that if you can get it, you get the goal from it. So credit to him for trying. Druthin now with 0 boost is going to be left with a slow recovery. If Killing Time can't get a big clear on this, which he fortunately does manage, it's going to be a bit of a struggle. But Sushi finding Awesome. Awesome not able to get the touch. Druthin looking to put it into the corner. Tommy D gets the hit out. Tommy D again looking for the block onto Killing Time. Awesome needs to find Sushi on the left-hand side. Leaves it a little bit too late to jump for the ball. And now Killing Time has sped up dramatically.
He has. And you were right about the first goal. It's the kind of goal that when you play at a certain level or above, that'll put your controller off the desk, because that is really not something that you would expect to happen. Someone chase you up the backboard behind you to try and knock you off. I mean, it works, but only because it so obviously shouldn't be done. That from Killing Time was better and more conventional. That's something that Northgate will have to be a bit quicker and more aware of.
And I think this will prove a little bit better for this Northgate team, because that transition of speed, shall we say, that Cambridge have made from game 1 to game 2 is definitely more like the speed we're going to be seeing from Essex and UEA. So this will actually help them, because they should be able to pick up their pace as well. As the infield pass looking almost set, and again just a little bit too hard, but Tommy with the follow-up is going to be able to make that 2-1 and shortens that deficit.
Yeah, and I mean, again, Sushi did brilliantly to position there and get the pass, which was also fantastic from him. But like you say, these kind of things are not going to be able, Tommy won't be able to follow that in against a team of the caliber of Essex or UEA. It will have been cleared away already. So they'll need to tighten up slightly in the shooting department if they want to take it to the bigger teams.
Awesome looking for that touch, doesn't find it. Druthin and Tommy just matching up in that center field, and now Awesome's looking to try and pinch it with the wall, doesn't get the pinch. Susie coming in with the block, and Murky's going to be credited with that goal. A little bit of an overcommit, shall we say, on the defensive side. Awesome didn't really need to turn there, and that's something that patience is going to cost them in later games, as it has cost them here. And it's really unfortunate, because there you like to see Awesome going for the full rotate. You'd like to see him going to that back post position and just allowing his team to commit with that. There was no real reason to try and challenge it. They weren't really making too much of a play. All three Cambridge players in exactly the same position as the attempted bumps and demos come out, but nobody following Sushi. Awesome looking for the double touch. Druthin is going to be there early, but drops it straight into the path of Sushi. And now Tommy has the opportunity to follow up, but instead blocked early in the midfield, stopping that play from developing. Sushi with 0 boost, looking to get that 100. Tommy just trying to take this out. Might be a little bit more patient now. Infield pass coming to Awesome, and it's a good shot. Druthin doesn't make any contact. Killing Time needs to put it over to the side. Does so. Druthin again missing, but Merck with a big clear.
Yeah, and I mean, this is almost a picture-perfect recreation of what we saw with Sunderland. They came out very strong in game 1. Not so hot in game 2, and for Squawk and I in the casting box, that was, a bit of alarm bells. We're thinking, oh no, if they can't even dispatch the first team on our list with, relative confidence, then they might have some issues. But we then saw them go up against the defenders, and it was like they flipped a switch, because I think what they're seeing here is something they're not entirely used to, a lot of unconventional plays like the backdoor dump that we saw, and it's throwing them a bit. But when they get something that they're used to in a rotation that they've seen and something closer to their level, they will start to play up to that level as well. And we saw it with Sunderland, but I wouldn't be surprised to see it here.
In the attempted bump coming out from Sushi, but Merc is just going to be able to pop it over the top, and that's going to be a 4-1 game. And that is one of the issues with going for a bump and unfortunately not finding it, is that it takes two players out of that defensive rotation and leaves just the single man back. Not the best bit of defending, shall we say, but nevertheless, in a 1v1, there's always that panic. The attacker almost always has the upper hand in those situations, as we just saw there. Awesome D putting off onto the corner. They're trying to recuperate here. They're trying to recover the losses that they've already gained. Sushi maybe going for the flip reset. Gets it, might be able to hit it, but Merc is there to get the block and get the stop. And I really think that's pretty much what the Merc is for, isn't it? Let's be completely honest.
I think that's fair to say. But I mean, going back to Merc there with the play that he just got for Cambridge's fourth goal, I think it's kind of typical of the kind of unconventional stuff that this team from Northgate won't quite be ready for. Awesome was sat there, saw Merc pop that, and the calibre of teams he'll have been playing against at the top end of BEA and the calibre of teams he'll be facing later will prompt him to think, oh, it's an air dribble, he's popped it up, we're going for this, it's going up, I'm going to have to wait. And then Merc doesn't even attempt an air dribble, does well, no fake really involved, just chases down the ball, catches it and pops it over, but not the play that they would expect. And I think when the more conventional plays start coming out, this Northgate team might start preparing a bit better for them.
And as Awesome looks to put it off onto the side, Tommy needing to challenge Merc. Awesome maybe looking for Sushi, but not quite the pass of dreams that he would have hoped for, as Druthin hits it high. Sushi just needs to try and drop this down, drops perfectly over the goal, but Druthin is there to read that one. Pops it straight into the path of Awesome, but killing time there earlier. And Tommy D now just looking to get the block on. Can see both players challenging for that one. I'm not sure how much boost Sushi has, but manages to get it past one. Is looking to get it past the second. Really wants to get the next goal, but Druthin just putting it over to the side. Awesome's got a good jump, a good lift off, but nothing is going to come their way right now as the ball drops down. And Cambridge take the second game 4-1.
That's typical foot off the gas mentality, I think, from the Northgate team. They came out and they 5-0'd, absolutely steamrolled the first game. They go, this is all right, we can definitely do this. And as soon as you start thinking like that, suddenly you can't. And that's shown very prominent here in Cambridge. I mean, killing time, credit to him, certainly came alive in that game too, more than he did in game one. I think he was a bit more warmed up then and he knew what he was doing. But this Northgate team, I would doubt they'll make exactly that mistake twice. They will now be thinking, right, actually, we've got a series on our hands here. We shouldn't underestimate this team, even though they're ostensibly the lowest level of the ones we're going to play tonight. This isn't going to be a piece of cake.
I think at this point, quite a few of Cambridge's goals came off of defensive mistakes from Don't Panic, and I think actually they didn't quite live up to their name, shall we say, in the second game. But that is to be expected. The nerves always hit. They're always going to hit at some point. It just happened to be in this particular game. They can pick it up. They don't even need to change up too much. All they need to do is just make sure that when they're on defense, the comms are actually there, because you can actively see watching the match that they are definitely not talking maybe as much as you would expect from teams, and that can obviously throw people off. But it's also worth saying the pool of players that Northgate have to choose from is significantly lower than the pool of players teams like Cambridge, UEA, the universities have, because instead of having tens of thousands of students, you might have thousands, you might even only have hundreds to pick from. And of those, trying to find a couple of high GCs, or even trying to find GCs, to be honest, I mean, they've done well securing somebody like Sushi, who, as we saw, almost single-handedly steamrolled Cambridge in the first game, and a good pass coming in, and Sushi just following that one up, but Tommy gets the flick instead, and first goal credited to this Northgate team. And honestly, pretty much a solo play here from Tommy. Deals with it well, the patience is nice, just baits in that challenge and just lofts it over the top.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's advantages, like you were saying. It's fantastic play, and you did point out very, shrewdly that this Northgate team, it's a smaller pool for them to choose from, but as Awesome drops in a fantastic second goal, I think that can work both to and against them in a way, because obviously, yes, there's less people, but once you've found the people, these kids, they likely know each other. You know, they've probably met at least, or at least, you know, share maybe one subject in their school, or they might even be, you know, we know a lot of Rocket League players do your typical science, physics, computer science kind of things. They may share a lot of classes and they may know each other quite well. And at the uni level, that often doesn't happen. These teams just, you know, you have your uni Rocket League team who you meet to play Rocket League and they don't know each other. So that might work in their favour.
It really might. As ball drops down, Sushi knows where he's looking for that. Good pass off of the backboard. Awesome following up, but Merc with the block and the overcommit from Tommy in defense there might be able to get this before, but Killing Time just not able to make any contact with that as it gets put off on the sidewall. Druthin's coming in. Sushi will be able to get a big clear. And that is exactly the type of clear we were discussing, I think, before that second game started, is the clears just to take the ball off of defense. And that is why you need to do it, because even with 0 boost, Sushi can then follow up. It allows them to get a bit of a reset on defense if they need it, but instead it can transition to the offense that easily as Awesome gets a great pass off of the backboard and Sushi there with the follow.
Yeah, and I mean, Sushi was helped greatly there by the fact that all 3 Cambridge defenders went to their front post on that and just put them, they had to stop. They had to stop moving, and therefore they killed all of their chance of making that save if the shot came in with any power. And Sushi seems to be shooting better as the series goes on. Northgate definitely aren't making game 2 happen again.
It's definitely fair to say Don't Panic have stepped up dramatically in this second game in comparison to how they were playing. But that is part and part due to the rotations. And I think the fact that they've now realised, oh wait, no, Cambridge can actually play this game.
Yeah.
It was just a bad first game from them. A lot more control coming out. Killing Time opting not to go for the boost there. Not entirely sure if that was the better play. We'll find out in a second. But now needing to rely on picking up that 100. Not sure who got that one. We should see in a second. No, Killing Time going for that 100 mid boost. Taking himself out of the play. And now it's going to be difficult. But a good challenge in the mid area. Should be looking to drop it back. But Tommy, good decision to pass it off of his own backboard there. That was definitely the better play, and actually something we don't often see players willing to risk, and it often causes goals to be scored. So it's quite nice to see it happening there.
Yeah, that was great work. And the more I see this Northgate team play, as Sushi narrowly avoids getting a 4, the more I'm impressed. Mechanically, these guys clearly know what they're doing. I think a lot of what they were making mistakes on and overreaching on was perhaps either a bit of nerves or a bit of a desire to impress, maybe, or a bit of both. It could just be that they're just unfamiliar with this situation in many different ways. And I think as they're getting more comfortable, the mechanics are being shown individually, but also now starting to work together.
I definitely think we're going to be seeing a faster Don't Panic team coming up in the later games, because I've seen some of what they can do already. They can definitely play quicker. Sushi is going to make this 4 off of a great pass coming through from Tommy D. Gets the flick over 1, just manages to pop it over Killing Time. Can't find it underneath the net, doesn't matter. Sushi's follow-up, taking it over the top of Druthin. And that's the kind of play that will break down any team.
Yeah, and I mean, like you were just saying then about speed, that's probably the fastest we've seen any player move in 3 games. Tommy there to get back to that ball, perfect speed, knew exactly what he was doing. And that, like you say, that kind of play could easily, if they get the space, be replicated against some of the harder teams they're going to face later tonight. And, you know, it's certainly looking a lot more promising if you just look at the odd-numbered games for Northgate so far.
And it's definitely worth noting as well, Sushi, again, really did pick up quite a bit in this game. I almost feel like we saw an inclusion of the rest of his team, but we've just seen a bit of a misplay from Awesome. And I'm going to give him a great pass, to be honest. Awesome, that was really unlucky. That would be the kind of pass, if you'd done that and you were on the opposite side,
yes,
would be going absolutely mental right now. Like, that's the kind of thing you try it a million times on the side you're meant to be trying it on. You do it once by accident on your own side, but it just happens to be the once where it goes in. But unfortunate there. But with 4-1 in the game, I really don't think we're going to be seeing Cambridge come back from this sort of deficit.
Definitely not. And like you say, if the Northgate lot had managed to get a passing play working like that off the other team's back, would have been absolutely fantastic. And unfortunately, these kind of freaky touches invariably only work badly for people. That's certainly my experience of them. And, you know, it's unfortunate, but there's not a team in uni or school in the UK that won't make a mistake like something like that at least once in a series.
definitely. Sushi going for that block on. Sushi might even be looking for the demo. And this, I think, might be something that Sushi at some point will need to look back on and say to himself, I think maybe the better play in that situation was probably going for the demo, because it would have completely taken out the only defender in the play. But that's a hindsight problem and something that we're obviously here to pick up on slightly, as Sushi just backs off, doesn't opt to go for it. Druthin making a little bit of a mishap in the mid area, isn't really in a greatest positions to be passed to, manages to get a flick into the center, but Tommy D is going to be up so much earlier than everybody else, might even look to get the second touch into the corner, and does so, looking for that pass in field. Sushi almost reading it, but it's a little bit too far. Awesome with a great shot. It was slow, but nevertheless, it was still on target and it was still well placed. And as the game comes to its conclusion, 4-1 and 2-1 in the series to Don't Panic.
Yeah, that was obviously much better from them, and I think it's what we could have expected. They came out looking a bit comfortable, shell-shocked in Game 2, I think, by the end, really aware that that needed to change, and they did change it in Game 3. I think, worth mentioning, when you say about Sushi in the demo there, you're right, it's, at least in part, it's a hindsight problem. You look at your replays, you go, oh, actually, I could have done this, and this would have been a much better play. When it's something like a demo, that's also a comms problem. I think that can also come down to Awesome and Tommy. They would need to say, you know, oh, only one defender left. Go for the man. Don't touch the ball. That will go in if you can hit him. Because Sushi might not see that. If he's got ball cam on, he'll just see one player going for the ball and the ball. And he might think, oh, someone's going to rotate in because someone probably should have rotated in on that play. His teammates can then tell him, actually, there's no one there, just hit him. And then you have a fantastic goal that looks fantastic. And, you know, Sushi comes out looking better, and they can all do that for each other at certain points.
Yeah, and obviously the question I'm going to pose to you now, and one that's been posed to me, do you think Treefork, if he was made an addition to this Cambridge team, do you think he could turn this series around, or do you think they could potentially get one more game back and then Don't Panic would just say, right, now we know the pace that you're capable of playing at, we're just going to step it up and play at that pace again?
I don't know. It's really hard to tell, only because I feel like Treefork's main advantage to this series, I think, would have been that he came in and just played. He did it. He just came in and he went, right, we're going to play and we're going to win. And Cambridge probably would have taken game 1. Then it becomes a psychological thing, because no, on paper, I don't think adding Treefork to this team would mean that in 60% of games, Cambridge suddenly start winning. If Treefork comes into this team and they go, oh my god, it's Treefork, and suddenly they lose 4-0 in game 1, they're not quite ready. Suddenly Northgate going, oh my god, this is only the first game, what's going wrong? And they might start panicking, unlike their team name would tell them to. But at that point, I think, you know, Treefork, his mechanical skill might not do it in a team that's playing like this Cambridge team is at the moment, but the psychological impact of having such a bold start and such a, you know, well-known player might do it.
I think that really is a good point, is that we have yet to see the schools come up against a player who is notorious in the Rocket League scene, that they can turn around and say, oh, no, wait, no, I know that player. Like, that's such and such, or that's such and such. Yeah. They've had players that maybe might be known, but not to the sort of extent that we know some of the uni teams capable of showing. I really wasn't expecting a goal to be scored at that point in time, but opting to take it low around his own goals. Sushi just making a little bit of a misplay there. Instead puts it straight into the path of Druthin, and Druthin just patiently waiting in front of that net, almost expecting that to happen, and 1-0 going the way of Cambridge early on in this 4th game.
Yes. Yeah, that was good from Druthin, you know. He has little to lose in a game of 3s from trying that, because you may as well give it a bash. But, you know, that's the kind of thing that I think won't happen against the higher ranked teams. The higher ranked teams won't expect that kind of play from Northgate, and they won't push it. So that they could probably get away with. But you were saying, you know, these schools haven't come across any good players. Oh, Tommy D lasers one in at the near post. I think Cambridge could have done a bit better on the goalkeeping front there.
Yeah, we were just about to discuss something else, but instead Tommy just slipping it in to that right-hand post. I don't think anybody was expecting it to go in. I don't think Merck was expecting to be needed to make a save to that part of the goal at least, but that's great placement and really something that they need to be looking for in the future games. Attempted block coming through from Tommy onto Druthin. Druthin just making a bit of a commotion now, causing a bit of problem as Killing Time beats out Sushi. Awesome getting it into that center. Merc up early. Tommy D's going to look to be the one challenging this one. Beats out Killing Time. Merc will look to put it back through towards that infield area, but instead finds Awesome and Sushi for the double. Can't find it underneath the goal, and that would have been an absolutely fantastic shot to have made, as we're going to be seeing the edge dribble coming out from Awesome. Almost gets it over the top of them, but can't find the back of the goal.
Yeah, this is much better from this Northgate side, and Sushi in many ways hit that double tap too well. Smacked it really far down into the ground, so much so that it bounced up and hit the crossbar again. And if he can do that, he could have easily scored. And so this, this Northgate team looking more promising the more we see.
Very much so. As Awesome looks to take it up at the sidewall to boost, though. He's probably going to need to look to rotate back around to the goal. Sushi misses, as does Tommy D. And it's a simple goal and simple misses. You do feel sorry. It looked like Sushi had it. Tommy D also looked like he had it, but nobody managing to get that touch, and it just glides into the top left corner, and 2-1 to Cambridge now.
Yeah, I mean, Cambridge will be happy with that based on the performance they've had this game, because I think it's fair to say it's not been stellar from them. So to be 2-1 up, I think will be something they'll happily take. And I don't know. I mean, this Northgate team, they came into this, of course, for us, being a bit of an unknown quantity, something of an enigma, and really, 3.5 games in, it's still quite hard to tell.
It really is difficult to tell. The shots just aren't coming as quick and as fast as they were in game number 1 and 3 for this Don't Panic team. But Sushi looking to put it into a dangerous area, and it is an up early. Awesome just can't find the target. Sushi put it off the backboard. It's going to be an easy goal for him. Can see that Killing Time is not in a prime position. Just stuck on that wall. Puts it over the top of him. Absolutely nothing that they can do, and Sushi just gets that easy second goal, and 2-2, and we are at the equal mark right now.
Yeah, I think that goal particularly will be a bit of a light bulb moment for this Northgate side, because they conceded 2 because they've been pushing up and trying to make really cool plays happen. Having now scored one like that as well from Sushi, they'll have gone, okay, maybe we don't need to try quite so hard. Maybe we don't need these amazing double touches or air dribbles or anything like that. We can just hit the ball, and if we hit it harder and faster and more consistently, we'll score. And I think if they've made that realization, it could be curtains for the Cambridge lot here, because they will hit the ball harder, faster and more consistently in the long run.
It really could, and that was a nice little touch there from Tommy, but somebody needs to follow this ball up. It can't be giving Cambridge this much time, but as I say that, a huge whiff coming out as Tommy does follow up, gets it off of the sidewall. Awesome's going to be looking for a pass through to centre, can't find any contact. Druthin with enough boost to follow it, but instead allows Merc to take it over, looking for the pass centre maybe, but doesn't get a great one as Sushi comes in to block it. Killing Time off of that sidewall again, looking for the pass into centre, gets one, but nobody there following up. They're both rotated back a little bit too far. Merc, the only player up in that offense, has the boost to rotate back to defense and needs to do so quickly. The attempted block coming through from Awesome, gets one. Sushi up early, looking to drop it in, and Sushi with a beautiful little redirect off of a great block coming through from Awesome. But that just didn't look like it was going to go in. But Sushi, how did you find the angle there, my man?
Yeah, fantastic work from Sushi to drop that down. Again, I'm going to rain on Northgate's parade here. You're not scoring that against UEA. You aren't, because against UEA, someone's going to be behind that ball, just waiting on the goal line, and that would be the easiest save in the world. It's fantastic mechanics, but against the higher rated teams that they'll be playing later tonight, the pass will need to be better. They'll need to put a little less power on it to ensure that they will make that ball without having to drop it with no power.
And I think it's worth mentioning, I'm going to come back to your point after this game's over, because I think it is about to be over now, but the overcommit actually puts it onto the crossbar and takes it away. But I think what we just saw there was another massive miscommunication coming out from this Don't Panic team. Sushi had a completely open goal a second ago, and instead of shooting, looks to put it onto the sidewall to get a pass in field. Doesn't realize that actually picking up that 12 boost is more than enough to just slow it down and take a shot on goal. But that's by the by. The reason I'm going to come back to what you said is I actually don't think they would have saved it, and I'll give you my reason why. I think you'd be right if the teams knew each other. I think that you'd save it. For example, if, say, Portsmouth was facing up against Lancaster and it was University's game, and we'll imagine Psycho has just gone up for that ball in the same way Sushi did, you can be guaranteed somebody is in goal. Like, you can be guaranteed somebody is waiting to save that. If it's Wardley for Brighton and Ferrell, and it's Wardley that's got the block and Ferrell's gone for the shot, it doesn't matter who is in goal. You can be guaranteed somebody is waiting for that potential play to come through. The reason I don't think UEA, for example, or somebody like Essex would save that is because I didn't see that coming. Sushi didn't look like he had the angle to get the shot going down. No, it was relatively easy. I will admit, it was a relatively easy save. I'm not going to deny that. If somebody was in goal, it's getting saved 100% of the time. I wouldn't even be in goal at that point in time. I'm looking to rotate because he looked like he'd missed it. He did not look like he had the ball. And even with a player in defence, you've then got a question. Okay, if they do get the touch, this can go anywhere. Like, this can go off the backboard, and then I've got to try and read it. This can go into any of the top corners. As it stands, it drops straight into the centre. Great goal, great way to take the series. But it's going to be. You are definitely right. It's going to be a lot harder to pull off those kind of plays against UEA. But those same mistakes will happen from UEA and Essex as just did with Cambridge, because those blocks, they're inevitable at every single level of play.
They are, and I think what's worth fleshing out from that is you're right in the fact that Northgate are such an unknown quantity in situations like that is going to play to their advantage, because someone established in the scene, we'll be looking at players like KJ later on. They're going to see this kid they've never met called Sushi flying up for a ball, and they'll go, no chance. Well, what's he going to do with this? And then suddenly it's over your head, and you go, oh, well.
That's what he's going to do. That's what's going to happen.
Conversely, it's only going to work once against the bigger teams.
It
needed to work once here, but KJ's not going to go, he's going to miss this time because he lasered it last time. It's a one-time trick, and they've, with 8 seconds to go in a crucial game, pretty good time to pull it out for Sushi, but they'll have to pull it out at a similarly good time for it to work next.
100%. And with that, we're going to go to a short intermission, so don't go anywhere. We're still going to be seeing and following this Don't Panic team as they face off next against Essex, and then after that UEA. But stay with us, stay tuned, and we will be right back. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the UK schools versus universities, where we've seen Don't Panic absolutely dominate, really, Cambridge in the first game. But now they face one of the first Titans in their way. This is the first chance they have to completely prove themselves. This is a team who are coming in, and they've got some established players here. This is not a team that is going to be walked over easily. You've got Switch and you've got Lenexo. Both players are what I think Switch is 1900s, if I'm not mistaken. Lenexo is 1850. These are two players that there is nobody so far that these teams have matched up against who is coming in at their kind of level. This is the first challenge, and I'm talking real challenge for this Don't Panic team. If they can make it through this, though, I'm curious as to your thoughts, Channel. If they can make it through this, do you think they then have the ability to take UEA?
Well, I think, again, this is, a perfect example of the kind of mentality thing that we were talking about in the sort of latter stages of that Cambridge series. Yeah, I think this Don't Panic team suddenly take Essex, and they'll know, I would imagine, that Switch and Xeno are good, and, certainly in terms of raw numbers, probably slightly higher up the ladder than they are. They can take this Essex team. Yeah, suddenly the sky's the limit for them, isn't it? They go, right, we've just scalped. Obviously Essex haven't really played much in NSE, but they've scalped a good team then. They beat Cambridge. They go, oh, well done, guys, you've beaten Cambridge, but you wanted to beat Cambridge. Cambridge was your sort of safety net, 1 victory out of 3. Now you push on, you see, okay, this Essex team looks pretty good, so, we'll definitely respect them a bit more and we'll take it as it comes, but yeah, they take this series. I think UEA, particularly coming in cold, will have something to worry about.
Yeah, and I think one of the important things to note about this is Essex have some very, very high MMR players that we've just established. Yeah. UEA though have a team. And yes, that obviously, in terms of MMR, you can have 3 absolutely jacked 2k MMR players that will not be a fully formed, perfect rotation, perfect position team of 1800s that just don't play ranked. Because if you're not a ranked warrior, we don't know what your MMR is. You could be Tylato. Tylato at the moment, or at least he was like a week ago, 1430. This guy's a pro. Like this is not somebody who's 1430.
Last week. So,
yeah, exactly.
That. And like you say, this Northgate lot play together a lot. They will play together regularly. They, like I was saying, they may well know each other. We don't know.
Yep.
And they may well just play together for fun quite a lot. And that kind of connection is probably more important than 150, 200 MMR scattered across the team in some kind of weird way. If the team doesn't play together very often, it's not going to make much difference.
Definitely, and I completely agree with that. But as we've got all players in for both teams, shall we say, we are now going to be getting the first of. I'm not going to say the first of real challenges. Sorry, Cambridge. You guys still did play. You did still play relatively well, but obviously Don't Panic came out as the stronger team. It'll be nice to see now how they fare up against one of the elites. They only finished. I mean, they still only finished 35th or whatever it was, or 36th or something in NSC. So it's not as if this is a massive team, but in terms of the caliber of players they can bring, yeah, it's not going to be easy.
No, and I think from what we've heard, the Essex team did not really turn up in their full complement more than once in the entire last split of NSE. Switch is, quite vocal about knowing, quite vocal about making it known that he wants a properly good third who won't be slow to that ball and cause Tommy to score before he competes, and it's exactly the kind of problem that's caused them to go one down here.
I've actually got to admit, I don't think that was too much of a problem from That Boy Needs Therapy. I'm going to actually give that over to Switch a little bit.
It was a bit of a bad pass.
Yeah, that pass through to the centre was incredible, but a kick-off goal like that is not how you want the response to come immediately, because they've done so well there, getting the pass in field, just popping it over Switch, and then Sushi with the missed kickoff is just absolutely torn down their dreams immediately. And we're back to a level playing field. And it is actually relatively gutting, because I will say right now, Don't Panic started this game as perfectly as they should have started the game. Switch there going for maybe a questionable decision on that challenge. Tommy with the miss. And again, Sushi there just putting that into the center. Tommy looking to take out Switch. Takes him out perfectly. Double attempt. The double touch attempt coming through. Tommy instead just looking to pass it off of the backboard. Switch getting it onto the left-hand side. Is looking for the block. Has 0 boost now. It's going to be slow on the rotation. And a hit like that. But Lenexo there to cover. And that, I think it's actually worth bringing back to something you mentioned. That the simple shots that have been coming through, you're not getting that against a team like Essex. And actually, they didn't. As we just saw there, completely shut down immediately.
Yeah, and I mean, having seen that goal twice, the first one that the Northgate boys scored, you're right, it wasn't a great pass. Arguably, I think Tommy did just as well to catch up with that and capitalise on the mistake as Switch let himself down a bit there. He'll not want to see that one too many times, but, you know, certainly not. We were worried about a big jump for these Northgate boys, and that would do to them mentally, but the fact that they're still in this first game, I think is as good as they can really want to be at the moment.
Yeah, that boy needs therapy. Good pass over to Lenexo. Lenexo just taking it out of the way of Switch. Could have left that, but the comms clearly not there from either teams really at the moment. Neither team getting many passes coming through. It's just simple play. But simple Rocket League can often be the ones that break down a team as a good block comes through, but nobody following up. And it's going to be allowed. That boy needs therapy to clear it, but instead Lenexo off of the sidewall. Tommy putting it over to the left-hand side. Not entirely sure that was the intention.
Whoa.
Switch looking for the goal and doesn't find it. And then Lenexo over the crossbar, but that boy needs to be able to get it down. Nobody jumping up in time from Don't Panic, and that is 2-1.
Not what you want to see from either side, really. I mean, Switch will certainly not want that brought up, but, I mean, that could have been much better defending from the boys in orange as well, I think. Little bit of jitters, maybe they're aware of the size of the team they're now up against, and that's not something you should really be thinking about, you know? You've just got to play like you were, and if they play like they were, I think they probably have a chance.
And as Tommy looks to get the clear, it's cleared right into the path of Lenexo. And this is one of the issues we discussed first series, was sometimes the big booming clears need to come so you can reset on defense. It doesn't happen there, and instead drops right on to the noggin of Lenexo, and an easy goal. I'm actually going to stop saying Lenexo because I've just seen it's Lexeno.
Yes,
and that's going to be a nightmare to say, because Lexeno feels just that little less fluid than the Nexo.
Once you've tripped it up, it's so unfortunate, you know. That's the real caster's curse. We say the caster's curse is talking about the players and then having something prove us wrong. The real caster's curse is getting a player's name wrong once, having seen it, and then you can never say it right ever again. You just go, right, well that's how I said it the first time, so I'll say it like that for the rest of history. So good luck with that for the rest of this series, as Sushi gets a fantastic touch. Northgate seems to be warming up in game 1.
They are definitely warming up, but Don't Panic. They're not out of the game yet. They're trying to get this pass into the middle, but Sushi can't find the flick. Switch is going to be able to get the block on with 1 on defense. Opts for that 100 boost. That's a good decision. It's just a poor pass, unfortunately, from Awesome. Didn't really expect Sushi to be going so far wide, as Awesome looks for the corner post. Goes too far back, though, and Tommy now left trying to recover. Good pass infield to Sushi, but Switch is there to get the block. We'll be looking for that second touch. Does so. Tommy needs to get a big clear. Instead, straight into the center. Sushi there early, though, to help clear that. That boy trying to find Switch is going to look maybe to get it again, but with 0 boost. Instead, opts just to pick up the 100 in the corner. So Tommy now manages to get it past 1, looking for the ceiling, but doesn't have the flip and doesn't have the boost to get anything from that play. And now this is going to be problematic. Sushi is going to need a pinch on this. Doesn't get the greatest one, but it's enough to take it out of the way of the attack, as Lexeno just takes as much time as needed there to just waste the timer and waste the clock down. But Sushi can't get the hit out, and Tommy is left trying to clear the lines.
Yeah, Northgate, you know, classic jitters from them at the moment. Couple of dodgy touches at the start of the game. They're now going, oh, you know, got to be really careful about how this works out. They're thinking too much, I think, and it's probably going to cost them this game 1. It seems unlikely on their current form that they're going to get 2 in the next 30 seconds, but just got to hope that they can, you know, find it within to reset coming into game 2. So I certainly don't think even the series, but certainly one game, I don't think is out of their reach.
No, it's definitely not out of their reach. But it's interesting to see this time that Sushi has adopted, it feels like, a lot more of a passive play style as opposed to what we saw in the games that we've seen previously. And a potential goal coming out, but it's going to stay 3-1 in the game as the ball drops down. Lexeno just popping it over to that boy, and that boy is just going to let the ball drop. And Essex take game number 1 in what I think is fair to say a lot more difficult for Don't Panic than the Cambridge games were.
Yeah, but I don't really feel Essex made it particularly easy for themselves. That was,
that is true.
That wasn't particularly sort of flowing. I think it's sort of testimony to what we were saying as this game started to kick off. This Essex team don't play together. And that was quite obvious from that game 1. The fact that there were some touches, good passes in certain cases. The switch pass that got Don't Panic their first goal wasn't brilliant, but there were some good passes later on in the game, going to no one in the middle or out on the side, because they're just not getting the comms right and they're just not fully aware of how each other rotates.
Yeah, and I think what I want to see, especially from Don't Panic, and if Don't Panic are watching, you have got to heed this advice at this point in time. You've got to start your defensive rotations quicker, because at the moment we're seeing too often, I think it's fair to say, all 3 players in the same place or 2 players in the same corner. We saw a few times Sushi, who we know is a great player, going up for balls from the other side of the pitch that maybe shouldn't even be fought. This is a situation where you should be saying, okay, no, you know what, actually, I'm going to hold back, because even if I get this, I'm not doing anything with it. I'm hitting it for hitting its sake. So even as good as Sushi is, and Sushi is playing absolutely fantastic, has been really impressive. In fact, I think it's fair to say the entirety of this Don't Panic team have been playing absolutely wonderfully so far.
Yeah.
I think it's fair to say that the rotations have to be there. They have to be there. Sushi cannot be coming from one side of the pitch to the other and just allowing the weak shots, the weak hits, the touches that don't mean anything to actually occur, because that is when rotations get cut, and that is why rotations get cut. If there's a man over there, they should be going for it. If they can't, comms should be there as to why and what is happening. But it just doesn't feel like that at the moment. Bad hit out, or relatively bad hit out from Sushi, shall we say. Tommy just looking to put it into his own corner, looking to get that double touch. Does so, and that's a great double touch. Bumps Sushi on the way, doesn't realise Sushi's picking up that 100. Good pass into centre, though, from Lexeno. And that point needs therapy. Not really doing too much with it. Awesome is going to be looking to get a pass down line. Nobody following, though, and it's just hitting straight into Switch. Switch looks to find Lexeno, but takes it straight over the top, and Sushi, they might be called Don't Panic, but that was a bit of panic, but that is a massive miss, but can't find the pass, and that is where rotation needs to be held. Sushi should just be allowing, irrelevant of whether Tommy is there quickly enough, should be allowing Tommy to take that. And again, we just saw it from Awesome, looking to get the half flip and touch the ball instead of just letting Tommy take that out, and they need to just calm down a little bit on this defense now. Yeah,
I think you're exactly right about all of this. One of the most sort of under-observed things, a fantastic save from Sushi off the crossbar. One of the most perhaps underrated things that makes a good team great isn't how you can hit the ball, or how often, or how fast or hard you can hit the ball. It's choosing when to hit the ball, because like you say, in that game 1, Sushi was going for a lot of stuff. He was going up for loads of balls that, even like you say, even if he won, they're not going anywhere. He's not scoring, and then they're out of position like that, and if they'd have just not hit the ball, they likely wouldn't have been scored on, because no one's going to get a shot in.
Yeah, that was actually, I'm going to give him his due, the attempted musty flick coming through from, I think it was Switch, but just ends up being helped on by a slight pinch play, and it just sped up the ball just enough to take it away. But definitely rotations are becoming their biggest downfall at the moment. Tommy looking to get this clear, misses that touch. Sushi with the clear out instead, and now Tommy looking to follow that one. Good decision there, but with 0 boost, needs to make sure he can pick up 100 and get back. As we just saw there, Sushi trying to cut that rotation. Awesome had it, and it's gone across goal, and Sushi managing to find their goal in this game, and it's the first one that they're credited to, but it was questionable decision making from Sushi initially. But that fake from Awesome, we're going to call it a fake. It wasn't a miss. It was a pro-level fake, okay, guys? Anybody watching that? That is the epitome of a pro-level fake right there. Completely tore down both the defenders, but it's the first time we've also seen Essex with a, shall we say, poor rotation on the backfield, because both players in exactly the same position, and it could be goal number 2. And now, Don't Panic are in the driving seat. They've told Essex to back off, calm down, we've got this. The waterfall coming through, Lexeno not expecting it, neither was That Boy Needs Therapy, and now they're taking the lead for the first time and they look in control.
Yeah, that's probably the most consistent way to get good results on offense in this game, particularly against this kind of team where so far Essex haven't really set up backboard defense. Be surprised to see that work regularly against UEA, who their way around the backboard and what to do with it, but that would be a repeatable strategy. Again, look, as this ball gets taken out of Essex defense, no one on the backboard, and once that ball goes up on the waterfall with no one pretty close by, it's going to be problematic every time. The attacker gets the advantage pretty much always because it's so much easier to read it when you can see. So that might be something that Northgate can bank and use again next time.
And that was a good touch from Tommy there, just cutting out the passing plays that were happening. But again, Sushi going for it. Awesome is there, and Tommy going for the pass off of the backboard. And Sushi might be able to follow it, but instead it's Awesome going for that one. Sushi now looking to cause a bit of a problem. Drops it straight down, but it's straight down for the opposition. As Switch looks to take it, looks for the shot. It's going to be finding it, but instead just hits the crop bar. Good block there from Sushi as Awesome just yeets it down the field, shall we say. Not really much of a problem from him. Switch looking to take a little bit more possession, take it a little bit slower. Sushi now looking for that double, might be able to find it. And that was almost a great play. But again, comms really need to be there from this Don't Panic team because Awesome following that one up a little bit too close. That was Sushi's to take.
Yeah, Sushi's been watching the Spring Series this weekend. He's going to be a bit like First Killer, but didn't quite manage it as all three of them commit, but happily the clear goes far enough. And that's brilliant work from Sushi to even get close to that shot. And it's worked out for Tommy here. And I think Northgate getting rid of their confidence back in game 2.
Yeah, and Sushi, that was the perfect bit of patience. And I'm going to say it. They should not be having... Switch and Lexeno should not both be in that position. No. One needs to be on the back post, and if one is on the back post, that's an easy clear. That's an easy block. But it's worth pointing out, in the previous game, you said, it's unlikely, shall we say, that this Don't Panic team is going to be scoring simple goals against some of the high-level players. Lexeno and Switch are those high-level players, and we just saw a goal scored from it, because regardless of how high level you are, if the communication isn't there on who's going for it and who should be at the back post, then it's going to be a problem. And as it stands, Don't Panic are not panicking when it comes to defense as much. It's just that their rotations are off. But this Essex team, the minute they're in defense, every single player wants to rush for the ball. They want to rush, they want to get it clear. They don't want to allow that ball to stay in their half. How can it? They can't possibly let it happen. They're high level players. This shouldn't be there. And in doing so, all they're actually doing is double committing, triple committing.
Yeah,
and then doing it again. Yeah, and they just make the situation worse.
Yeah, you're exactly right. I mean, like that. I mean, that's a typical example. Lexeno there goes for a massive free flip. It's showing your mechanical skills. Sure, could have made it and it would have been great. But, like you say, if he then double commits the switch, that shouldn't happen on the defense, and Northgate will capitalise. I will stand by my assertion for UEA. This Essex team obviously have the high ranks, which is going to show it here with an attempted flip reset, but they don't have the chemistry. When this team from Northgate comes up against UEA, who have both, those goals are going to be much rarer.
Yeah. I agree. The goals will be much rarer. And I almost feel like with UEA, if this Don't Panic team are going to beat UEA, it is going to come off of the back of UEA's own mistakes. Because I like what I'm seeing from Don't Panic. Don't get me wrong. Love what I'm seeing from them. But this is not UEA caliber level. But you don't expect them to be. That's a fair statement. You don't expect them to be. The pool of players, as we've discussed before, is a lot smaller. This isn't a fair... It's not a fair representation. That would be like saying, the entirety of China versus the University of, I don't know, whichever university has the most number of students. Like, all right, okay. Maybe population difference, a little bit off. Don't judge me for it. But still, the point remains that the bigger the pool you have to choose from with players... Yeah. The more likely you are. Yeah, the more you'll find, the more likely you are to find a high level player. In this situation, Don't Panic are playing well as a team. But if they've got the opportunity to save these replays, they definitely should. Because
valuable.
Definitely. And one of the most important things to pick out from this, and one thing that Don't Panic need to pick out from it, even in that ending of that game, we cannot be having, it can't happen where Sushi is cutting the rotation so hard as is what's happening. I understand that he plays a very aggressive front man, a very, very aggressive front man.
Yeah.
But if you continuously cut your rotations on your team, it doesn't matter how aggressive or how good you are up front. Your defenders are going to, your defenders are going to stop to think. Well, wait, hold on, what's just where?
And then the ball's on your head,
Sushi,
and it's in, and that's it. That's against a high level team like this Essex team on occasion, and more regularly, I think, against UEA. That kind of cut of a rotation, Sushi will get in front. He'll get the ball sometimes he won't, and then the defense will go, hang on a minute. What's going on? And in the time they've formulated that thought, the ball is over their head already, and UEA will capitalise on that more often than not.
Yeah, the attempted bump, we just saw it coming out from That Boy Needs Therapy. And Sushi up early, doesn't have the boost now, but still has the second touch. Let's Awesome come in. And now the rotation's coming in a little bit better from Sushi. Rotates back as that third man. Might have the opportunity to shoot from it, but instead patient, wait. And that's nice to see. Now going to look to take it up at that sidewall. Let's Awesome take the ball, but a bit of a challenge. And that is actually quite risky because now the rotation is off, but they've managed to pick it back up. Sushi just popping it over into that side corner, looking to get the block on Switch. Gets the block as we see Awesome coming through, looking for that corner. The pass infield is going to be there, but like Zeno popping it over one, looking to pop it over the second. Maybe it would have been better to go for the bump in that situation. Maybe not, as we just saw there from Switch. But they're not credited with a goal there. Switch will look to turn around immediately. Looks to get an air dribble going of some sorts. Maybe a flip reset. Gets the flip reset, but it's not going to take it over Sushi as Lexeno comes in for the follow-up. And now That Boy Needs Therapy. Last man on defense. Awesome. It's going to look to challenge. Leaves it now. No, it does actually take the challenge. I apologize. Thought he's going to leave it to his teammate, and That Boy Needs Therapy with the clear.
Essex are playing twos at the moment, I think it's fair to say. So far, we're approaching, halfway through the maximum length of this series. Essex are treating this like a game of twos. They are just lining up, rotating perfectly well on the back half, but lining up to go for a bunch of solo play there. Dribbles, all sorts of bumps and dribbles and anything that you like. I don't think we've seen a passing play from them. And while it's probably going to work, if it does only because of their advanced MMR, it's not really the way you want to be approaching these kind of series.
No, it's not the way you want to be approaching. As we see the double commit come through again, That Boy Needs Therapy, just not waiting patiently enough for Switch's pass and just booming it clear as well. But he's going to manage to find Switch, and Switch almost finding the target. Tommy with a good block is going to look to carry this one on. Awesome is going to be needed in a second to take it. But I'm going to come back to an earlier situation that happened with Awesome. We saw him pre-jump up. I'm not going to go back to it. I apologize. I assumed Essex would be back in defense in enough time for this. That Boy Needs Therapy. Slow down the play well enough, but like Zeno and That Boy both deliberating on who is taking the boost. It was very much a polite play that led to the goal there. Like Zeno saying, no, you take the boost. That Boy being, no, you. I honestly, I don't mind. And like Zeno just being like, right, okay, maybe one of us should, because we're no longer in defense.
Yeah.
And at that point, you're done for. But That Boy, not with the greatest jump, but Switch managing to find the goal, and 2 goals in quick succession back-to-back from both teams, and it just feels like the sort of response that happened in game number 1.
Not pretty, but as one of our caster friends would say, we take those if you're Essex, and that's all you need. At the end of the day, all that's going to show up is how many goals he scored, not what you'd rate them out of 10, so it doesn't really matter, does it?
It doesn't, as Lexino puts it off onto his own backboard. Awesome with the follow. Gets the block as well. Needs to get a pass infield, but that is a risky challenge to make, and that could lead to a goal. Manages to backflip well, and Sushi's recovery there is worth noting. Absolutely fantastic. Lexino looking for Switch. Switch is going to be able to find it. Switch now putting it up high, and it's just Awesome left back, but pass it infield to Switch. Switch with the pass infield to That Boy, and that is the goal. That Boy scores that wonder.
Yeah, I mean, this is better from Essex, definitely. Awesome. Maybe some questions about positioning, but he did the best that he could, and that was a good pass to get it back out far enough from Switch. Essex taking the lead here, and of course, neither team on match point yet, but if Essex take this game 3, game 4 looking much more likely if Lexeno can warm up shots like that to be going in their favour.
Yeah, and the goal wasn't even needed from it in the end. Bit of a freestyle coming out. Flip reset, looking for that top corner, but instead bounces just wide, and absolutely nothing really that the defense could do. Maybe be positioned a little bit further into that back post, would have been able to get a save onto it, but that really is a hindsight thing, and I think it's fair to say that is not something you always expect. Maybe a double touch coming from Switch, but shut down early from Tommy. Asushi looks for that 100 boost, now has nothing, shouldn't be going for the ball with no boost, should just be leaving it to Tommy. Let's pick up that middle 100 now. Awesome, should be looking for the backboard, should be looking for a pass off of it, but Lexeno is there early, gets it clear, hits the ceiling, and this is where Sushi's going to look to follow up, might be able to get some sort of play, but the demo coming through from that boy is going to shut that down. As I say that though, Tommy looking to follow it through as Sushi is going to go for the shot now, finds the target, but can't get it in the back of the net from a great save. I believe that was Lexeno. Credit to him, really stopping play developing.
Yeah, that was brilliant from him. Essex still looking a little bit shaky on the defensive rotation, but they got the job done that time. And as we tick into the final minute, Northgate haven't scored very highly in this series so far, and getting 2 in just under a minute, maybe not. We'll have to see what happens, but obviously going into a game 4, needing to win 2 in succession is not where you want to find. Oh, they're not going to get 3.
They are really not going to get 3, and that almost feels like a bit of a stinger, to be honest. Sushi trying to get the hit into the center, Tommy following up a little bit too close, and Lexeno just coming straight over the top and banging it into the top corner. Not much of a problem for Lexeno there, had all the time, had all the space to do so, but Don't Panic shouldn't feel hard done by this, because this is exactly what they need to come up against. They need to come up against this sort of team, they need to come up against team plays, and they need to come up against bad misses, bad touches, and bad clears, because that is exactly what is going to show you what you need to improve on. That boy missing a wide open net, not able to squeeze it in as Switch looks for the ceiling shot. Really gets it, doesn't quite get the goal, but is credited with a beautiful ceiling shot, double touch pass. I mean, that's incredible.
Oh my. Not looking good for Northgate if they can carry this into game 4 on the Essex side. That's beautiful for a start, but more than that, things can be beautiful without being effective. That was hugely effective, because what are you supposed to do with that? When someone comes, I mean, that's why ceiling shots came into this game in the first place, as Awesome gets a consolation, but coming off the ceiling with that flip to use as and when you so desire, you don't even have to use it at all. There's just so many options for a defender. You know when someone jumps on an air dribble, they don't have a flip, so they can get under the ball, but they have to take time to get under the ball, and that is something you can notice and stop them. Similarly, on a dribble, you know that when the player jumps, then you have a set amount of time to get that flip before it's gone, and you know that that's nothing to worry about. But when someone's coming off the ceiling like that, and at any moment could just flip in whichever direction they like, or just choose not to, it's almost impossible. And if Switch can get back to it like he did there, it's a fantastic play.
Yeah, and it's worth noting, Essex, they have a very good team. I'm not going to pick on any players right now. I'm really not. There is no one player who is playing, dramatically bad. However, that boy needs therapy. You should definitely be scoring those open goals. I'm just saying. You should be scoring those open goals. But we did see some incredible plays coming out from everybody on that Essex team. And don't panic. This is great to see. One of the things I'd like to note, for me personally, Don't Panic feel like a less formed Rockenteers.
Yes.
In the sense that the passing plays are there. Like, this is by no means a one-man team. This isn't even a two-man team. This is a full-on team. Like, these guys play well together. And that's to say Sushi is meant to be like this. Well, I'll say carry. I'm going to say carry in quotations, because obviously
the offensive lifting.
Yeah, he's meant to be the person that is there to hold up the team. Mm-hmm. And as it stands, I haven't been seeing that, because for me, it has very much felt like they have played well as a unit. Yeah. That is something that if you really practice and you continue to play, and you play, you do ranked, you do scrims, they could be a really well-oiled machine, because if they get these rotations down, I actually do think they could be challenging even the best of teams. As the first goal goes in, if only 4 seconds, we can't even call that a kickoff goal, really. I mean, it goes that corner, but still, Lexeno should be doing something with this, and Awesome just squeezes it into the net. 1 goal, 4 seconds gone.
Great awareness from Awesome, and I think you're right. Obviously, on not quite the same caliber, I think you can parallel Sushi to maybe someone like JNuts from G2 or Chicago in more recent seasons, if you're an RLCS fan, you know that Chicago is, your pick in the fantasy team if you want points and you want goals. Would he be as effective without the other two players on his team? Definitely not. And I think Sushi is getting a lot of help from plays like that from Tommy. My goodness me, 23 seconds gone and Tommy just air dribbles the entire team. What a flip. That's beautiful.
And that is an example, and we can't even say that was a defensive mistake there. That boy went up in exactly the moment he should have. But I don't think anybody was expecting the extra touch coming off of that slight air dribble there, and that extra touch just took it over the top of the final player. And really, that's all she wrote about that. Like that, yeah. that is as simple as that. You can't do much there. Great shot coming through from that boy though, and that boy just finding the only space available in that goal. Xeno with a great pass. That boy up early, just managing to beat out Awesome and just lost it over the top of both players. And that's an easy goal, but still 2-1, and the goal still needs to be brought back by Essex.
Yes, disappointing if you're Northgate though, because that is, compared to the caliber of goals you score, particularly Tommy in that second one, not how you want to concede, because defenders could have been at that a bit quicker, bit of a communication lapse, and not the most ideal way to halve your lead, but at least they still have the lead and there's still plenty of time left on the clock, and they're attacking here as Sushi makes it free.
Yeah, I'm going to say again, these really are representative of how Rock-N Tears play. That the passing plays just coming in from the corners and just absolutely finding a player that is just waiting patiently in the center for it. And that's just a great link-up play. It's not even, I'm not even going to turn around and say that it was a good goal from Sushi, because the pass is made everything there. That pass was unbelievably sublime. Sushi, though, credit to you for being there in the position that you were, because you needed to be. And that is just exactly how we want to see this game continue.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting to note, obviously, in sort of conventional football, which most people would agree is what this is kind of based on, obviously with your ball and your goal, you wouldn't really have something like that, You never have a player just sort of lining up in case, unless you get some kind of set play, but we don't have those in this game. But Sushi there taking on the role of, your 6-yard box predator, your Miroslav closer of the Rocket League scene, if you will. Just sort of, he does all the work before the ball is anywhere near him. He just knows, right, this is going down that side, and then it's going to come off the corner, and I'll be here. And when I'm here, and my teammate gets me a brilliant pass, I'll have done 95% of the work I need to do, because all I need to do then is just drive into the ball and score. The real work was done in knowing the pass was coming and being there to get it, which was fantastic awareness.
And I'm going to actually mention who Sushi reminds me of a little bit. Sushi actually reminds me, especially in the plays that were just happened a second ago, of a player called Instinct. Now, Instinct is notorious for, we won't say demo hunting, but going for those absolutely pinpoint perfect demos off of an attacking rotation. And Sushi has done that in almost every single attack we've seen him on so far. The only difference is obviously Instinct is a lot more well-formed than Sushi is. But that's just through time and just ability to play, as we see a little bit of a mishap. But the double commit coming through from Awesome and Tommy there. And Awesome shouldn't be challenging that. Tommy's ball all day. Awesome also needs to be taking that back post rotation. Doesn't take it. It could end up costing them, because he should be there for that one. And you don't obviously like to call it, but in that situation, you have got to full rotate. You are worthless at that front post. That's not to say you're worthless, Awesome. What I'm saying is the player is worthless at that front post at that point in time, because it's always going to go over the top of you unless you're pre-jumping. So you have to be there. You have to be rotating onto that back post to stop plays like that.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, it's one of those, I think any player on the field just goes at some point, no matter the caliber or scope of their skill, at some point they'll see a ball and they'll go, that ball's right next to me, so I'll just rotate right in front of it. And at some point, that will go very wrong for them, because in most cases it's worth rotating towards the back post, and identifying when it's not is often quite hard. So in practice, especially at this kind of level, you want to just be rotating back post to be safe, because like you say, when the ball doesn't go over your head, and you won't get punished like the Northgate boys have here, because they've just lost 2 goals.
Yeah, and obviously I'm going to mention that goal because nothing really was said about it, but that goal was absolutely defensive fault. I don't obviously want to pull these don't panic boys down. These players have been playing unbelievably beautifully, but it needs to be said that Sushi had the first touch, and if Awesome had just allowed that to happen and just gone for the follow afterwards, it wouldn't have been as difficult for Tommy to defend. Yeah. But instead, the double commit, and it came in hard, took out 2 players from that area. But Sushi now really developing play. What a play by Sushi, and a great pass infield to follow it up, and Tommy bringing back that the lead that they had, just managing to pull it back, and that's a great follow-up and a great play from Sushi.
Yeah, that's fantastic work from Northgate. They've shown themselves on one side of the ball. I think that's very fair to say. We've seen, quick mathematics here, this is the, 8th game we've seen them in now? They've not really looked toothless in any of them, except perhaps that second game in their first series against Cambridge, but since then, consistently producing at least 1 or 2 good offensive drives in every game and converting them well when they can. It's the other side of the ball. That's the only problem that they're having at the moment, is as the other team
it's the double touch. That double touch though from Switch, you could see it coming a mile away. The minute he hit that, it was unbelievably perfect execution. The touch, absolutely sublime, and at no point did that even look like Tommy stood a chance. Even if Tommy had managed to somehow find a way to block it, there were players following that one up, and that's not even a defensive error. Switch, fair play to you. You're just great at the game, aren't you?
Yeah, not much you're supposed to be able to do about that, really, unless there was someone already on the backboard, but that's more of a circumstance of chance than any sort of preparedness, because how are you supposed to expect something like that? I mean, that's the problem, of course, when you get to the high levels of this game, is the kind of things people can do, you cannot just sit and wait for them to do, because they can't do it all the time. But then, on the occasions that they do, there's nothing, With a double touch like that, oh my goodness me, Switch nearly dropped that down, and we'll go into overtime. Game 4. One more goal for Essex, and this series is over.
I think Don't Panic can do this. I think Essex might just falter ever so slightly. I think that pressure from them might just become a little bit too much. Sushi following that one up, putting it into the corner. Switch is going to be there, though. Doesn't manage to get the second touch, and this could be a potential shot coming through. Lexeno isn't able to get the greatest to clear. Tommy looking for that pinch, sending it round. The goal isn't going to challenge this one. Sushi is there to challenge it, though. Drops it straight into the path of Switch. Switch off onto the corner post, looking now to just carry this over. Wastes possession completely, but fortunately for him, no one on the follow-up from Don't Panic.
I mean, yes, he got rid of the ball and lost it, but he also gained his team a lot of time to reset. They seem to have gone a very long way in order to do it, but Essex got the boost back and the ball will remain in the middle. So, yes, not the best pass, but did it well enough for Switch, as Tommy very nearly gets back to that one.
It's worth noting on that play, Tommy, I don't actually think had much boost. Didn't pick up the middle boost. Looked to only pick up 2 12 boost pads, so with 24 boost, almost gets through all 3 of the Essex team there. And now Tommy looking to go for it. We saw Sushi with the bump when he's going out again onto Lexeno, and Sushi might look to just pinch this off into the corner. Does so. Lexeno with the miss, it's right over the goal, and Switch just put it in. And that is exactly what we were talking about, is the fact that we fully believe Don't Panic can take this, because Essex might be the ones that are panicking that little bit more, and that just proves it, because no one was challenging, and Switch with the own goal. That's unfortunate.
That is, I think, the worst way that Essex could have lost this overtime. You get a great play coming in from Don't Panic, you go, okay, that's fair enough. We've lost, and we weren't supposed to be able to do anything about that, so what can you do? We'll just go into game 5 and try again. It's a play like that, when you just, under no pressure, leather it into the top left corner of your own net. Horrible, because you're now going, oh my goodness, why did I do that? Now I've ruined our only chance. This is now game 5. There's so much pressure, and Switch will not be in a good headspace after that.
Switch won't be in a good headspace, but at the same time, Switch knows the level that they're capable of playing at, so it's not going to be as if they're going to be too faltered by it. It will be irritating, yes, but Switch will come back out and still, I've no doubt, perform exactly how they've been performing. I actually think the problem Switch is going to have now is, with it going down to the wire, the 5th game being in hand, is Switch going to come out and say, right, look, I am arguably the better player on the team. I'm the best player on this team. I'm just going to come in and just dominate him. I'm just going to try and dominate him. You two be there as my backups, because if they do that, then they're going to find a problem, because Don't Panic, I just don't feel like it's going to be broken down like that. But Don't Panic on the flip side have to do the complete polar opposite. And that is, they've got to go out and say, right, these passing plays, they're good, but they are nowhere near fast enough, and we are not quick enough on the defense. Like the double touch that we saw from Switch, that's hard to save for anybody. Why is it hard to save? Because at that point, Tommy did not have the speed to get it before it hit the backboard. Needed to get it after it hits the backboard, and just couldn't get it. We've seen low-level players hit those, and we've seen top-level players miss that touch. So it's not surprising, but the first goal could come credited, but a great save coming out from, I believe, that boy, but it could have been Switch. We'll know when we see. No, Switch getting the save there, the only save on the team so far. Switch putting off into the sidewall. Awesome, looking to get the read, but the miss, and that's going to be the goal. But Switch doesn't get the touch, and that's crucial. It was exactly what you were saying. Is it going to have rattled him? And it looks like it has.
Going back to Switch as well, what you were saying about him, yes, you're right. It would be wise not to try and be the one-man carry, because that rarely works in a level like this. If Switch is going to try a style or a strat, if you want to call it that, he wants to try and emulate Sebadam. He is the Sebadam of this team, if you will. You know, he is the one who's quite clearly up there and knows what he's doing more than the others. So he would want to just sit back and get them good service, because these players aren't sufficiently lower than him.
This is going to be... Oh! Awesome! You've got to be playing it better than that. Oh, that was distinctly not awesome. But don't worry, we'll give you a chance to recuperate and recover from that one. But the bump coming through, looking like Lexeno's going to be able to get the shot. Tommy getting the second touch. And this is where Awesome has the chance to show and make up for what happened. But it's just so unfortunate there.
Switch, I think, was listening to me on that play. Decided, you know, yes, I will. I'll be a bit of a Sebadam. I'll just set up my teammates, because my teammates, while not quite up to my standard, they're not bad. If I get them good passes, they'll get me good goals. And as I have that within my locker, why don't I just play like that? And he looks like he might be trying it, and I think that's the best way for him to play in this game 5.
And this is going to be the goal! And with that, the first goal in this game is gifted to Don't Panic. Tommy with a great flick over that boy. Lexeno coming in, assuming it's going in, thinking they need to make the save, and Sushi with an easy goal says thank you very much and just gobbles that one up. Not a problem at all.
The comms problem again for Essex, I would like to say. Those kind of things, you know, the camera angle on Rocket League is fairly static. You know, you have a ball cam and you have a not ball cam. You can't change it really on the fly, although while it's possible, it's not really particularly intuitive while you're moving. So Lexeno, I don't think can really be faulted that much for going, oh my god, is that in? And just diving for it, because he may well have believed that based on what he saw, and sometimes it does look very deceiving. It's up to his teammates there to go, no, that's off the backboard, don't go for that, before he barrels into the top left corner of his own net and just gets Northgate the first goal.
And this is some unbelievable patience from Awesome. It's got to be said. Tommy getting the clear off of the side wall, and now it's just gone into no man's land. Sushi taking it off of Awesome, and now defensive rotations are not going to be anywhere near as good as they were. And it's the problem that we spoke about earlier. It's that same issue. Sushi just coming in and just stealing it away from his teammates now. That is definitely a comm issue, but Lexeno is now going to be getting that. And I've got to say, I'm sorry, Sushi. The reason we mention it from you is because you are the highest player, so you are the one that's doing it the most. But that is pretty much the sole cause of that play. It left everybody messed up on rotation there. It's just got to be a bit more careful, just got to be a bit more calm with the decision making. You've got to respect the fact that even if your teammates aren't as good as you, you've got to let them go for it. You've just got to.
And I think it's fair to say that also harks back to what we were talking about earlier in the series, where at one point in that play, I didn't see who it was. It may well have been Sushi. It pass came into mid. Northgate player hurls themselves at it. Are they ever going to get anything good on it? No, because the two Essex players right underneath it, and I think even both of them went. Only one of them would have needed to, but the point remains.
This could be a goal.
Oh my.
That boy can't find the touch. Switch puts it up, and Lexeno has been bumped out of the way. And in this final game, in what looked like Essex will be able to close it up. We see a good pass coming through to Tommy from the infield, and Sushi again now has just rotated around the completely wrong direction, trying to get a bit of a block in. Maybe not the worst decision that we've seen so far of the day, but to clear the ball, you've just got to allow your team to get back. And now no bump coming on the way of Switch as two players pre-jump, and so does Sushi. This could be a problem in the attempted bump coming through from Switch. It was the right play, but didn't see Awesome following that one up. Awesome still following, probably should be coming back down. Tommy now taken out of the play, especially with 0 boost. Completely worthless as it stands. Lexeno pass over to Switch, gets the redirect, and then eventually gets the dunk over the top, and they take the game now 2-1, and now Don't Panic are left chasing.
They are. And again, 2 or 3 more times in that play, what I was just about to point out came true. They get a pass out, they look for a ball that's free, and they say, I'm gonna go, I have to go. Why can't I go? Because if I don't go, suddenly we're not on offense anymore. When they do go, they don't reach the ball because it's a long way away or it's not quite right for them, and the pass isn't perfect, because not all passes are at any level of this game. The fact that they're chasing them all is really costing them here, because you have to, at some point, if you're going to be a really great team, just say, actually, you know what? I think you're a great player, but that pass was trash, so I'm not going for it. Leave it alone and we'll set back on defense. But at the moment, Northgate chasing every ball that gets put out for them, and sometimes it's just wiser to leave them alone.
And with 0 boost, it really doesn't look like Sushi's going to be able to do it. Really should have opted to pick up a boost pad or something. And it's sad. It's relatively sad to see them lose. I've got to admit, obviously, being a university player, seeing these schools come in, I want to see the schools win. The reason being is because it just shows the caliber and the pool that the university is going to have to pick from in the coming years. And that was a really good game to show it, to be honest, because all of those players have such a great opportunity now to improve to the standard of NSE. They've seen now who some of the better players are, should we say, in NSE. They've had that chance to show themselves, to really showcase their abilities. And we've seen that from everybody. We haven't just seen that from Sushi, who we mentioned quite a lot. We've seen it from Tommy. We've seen it from Awesome. All 3 of the players are playing like a team. It'll be interesting to see, actually, if any of these guys happen to go to the same university if they decide to go in the future. Because you do actually see people who play together and then they end up going to the same university. I mean, we're seeing it from Wardley. Now, Wardley plays for Brighton at the moment, but Wardley is leaving Brighton, going to Bournemouth. When that change happens, we're going to be seeing Bournemouth have Will and Wardley, 2 players who play together anyway. They're friends, they're mates, they play together, but they're not going to university because they play together. They just happen to be going to the same university. That does wonders. Wonders for a team. But don't panic. Don't panic. It's as simple as that. Like, at the end of the day, you can beat this UEA team. It is completely doable. You could very much have beaten the Essex team, and at some point, you will. But someone's actually brought it to my attention in talking about two high-level players that have gone to the same uni. You guys will all know Tigri. Most of you, I hope all of you will know Nagflow. Both go and play for Berlin Phoenix. And we saw Berlin Phoenix almost lose, to be fair, in the EURC finals, but they didn't. And
they never looked like it on the way there.
They didn't look like it on the way there. They only looked at it when they got there. But that is an example of a team who happened to get 2 high-level players who were friends anyway and played together fairly regularly, and they just happen to go to the same university. When that happens, it really can do absolute wonders for it. But we've spoken enough about that. I think it's fair to say we're going to go to another break, and then after this one, this is the big game for Don't Panic, because it's Don't Panic versus UEA. So don't go anywhere, don't leave, stay with us, and we will be back after this break.
words even when they hurt. You wanna feel, wanna fall in love, wanna give it all up. But you don't want to lose your control. Are we playing this game? Oh, are we playing this game? Are you too afraid, or are you giving in? Let the games begin, 'cause I play to win.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the UK schools versus the universities. We're now here with what could be said a mild rivalry. We've got this Northgate 6 team, Don't Panic, coming out of Ipswich, and then we've obviously got University of East Anglia coming out of Norwich. Now, this is going to be interesting because I actually was mildly expecting, and I've got to say, I was mildly expecting this Don't Panic team to beat Essex. They looked like they had the opportunity to do it. They really looked like they were going to do it. And then it just mildly fell apart. It didn't fall apart massively, but it did fall apart ever so slightly. It was very, very sad to see. But do we think, even with that loss, do we think they have the ability to actually beat this UEA team? Do we think that can happen?
I think, best of 5. Anything can happen.
Yep.
You're right. Bit of a regional rivalry. While East Anglia are the hardest team that they'll have to face today, they are the most local for them. That might motivate them. You never know. And again, the further we get into this, the more we're seeing the unis have everything to lose and the schools have everything to gain. This Don't Panic team can now just, throw everything, including the kitchen sink, and just see what sticks. And if they do that, they might come out on top.
Yeah, and what I do want to mention while I've got the time to mention it is after this match, this isn't it. This is the last match that we've got for Don't Panic, but it's not the last match we've got on stream. So after this, we're going to be seeing the NSC Southern and Regional champions facing off against each other. So that's Hearts versus Liverpool John Moores. Now, both teams have some great players on, and they're just generally great to watch. I think that if you're sticking around for this, my honest opinion, even if you're only sticking around for Don't Panic, stick around as well for the after, because that's where you see the two higher players, shall we say, or the two highest teams in the North and South Division, the ones that didn't make it through to Championship. That's where you see these guys face off. Yep. That is very much the kind of match you want to watch if you want to know what you might be coming up against. But we have begun this first game, East Anglia versus Don't Panic, and Dizzy Park, trying to make an early play with Thupremi. Pokey is looking to go for the double touch instead, looking for a pass, but Campwell is not there. I'm just going to call them by their Norwich names. Why not?
Good idea. We all know who they are. It would be an interesting thing for people to follow. Actually, I say we all know who they are. Supreme very nearly knocks that one through. I think he's got the best nickname here. I'd like to be Tino Cookie any day, but looking like a much more oiled unit, which expected from the East Anglia boys.
Yeah, and Tommy now forced to rotate back, takes it across goal. We saw that problem happening early on in the last game. Pookie coming through, trying to get the shot on Cantwell. It's going to be lofting it high. Pookie, we know, has the ability to get the redirects from those angles. Awesome needs to beat Fark here, but can't do it. Cantwell on the follow-up, getting it off into the corner. Tommy managing to get a great block as Pookie is going to again look to just slow down play. Might look for the infield pass to Fark. Instead looks for the shot. Both players double committing. That's Awesome and Tommy now needing to rotate back to goal. Gets the save and just puts it past that corner post.
Oh, they're not making it easy on my frail heart. These boys now, this orange side, but Sushi's done amazingly well, and it could, again, seems like every series we have to wait for the boys in orange to warm up on their shooting.
Yeah, it was questionable shot. However, it was great play leading up to it. Sushi now looking to take it back out. Going to be trying to beat out Pookie. Pookie just opts to let Campbell take it. And the shot coming through, but Pookie's there just to get the save on. Maybe a slight edgeable pass to Tommy. Pookie coming over the top. And Sushi there with a shot, but it's not a fast one as Awesome looks to get the touch.
Oh my!
And Fark has missed, and this could be the first goal, and it's going the way of Don't Panic as panic ensues for this UEA team.
Really does. One miss just completely destroyed the defensive rotation there. I think Supreme was perhaps banking on Dizzy making that read, and even with the Norwich professional nicknames going on, couldn't get the ball out as well as they did. So Don't panic, take the 1-0 lead, and that might bring them confidence, which is not what you want to see if you're a fan of the boys in blue.
Yeah, double commit coming through for Pookie, but the misplay, and Awesome just manages to recover in time, but Sushi there can't be making mistakes like that. Tommy a little bit too close to the front post. Sushi now left with the half flip, trying to get back, and this is going to be problematic if somebody's coming over the top, but Cantwell just trying to dip it in, but Fark is going to look for the pressure, and Pookie now clearly limited boost passes straight into the path of Awesome. Following up is Tommy as Sushi looks to put it up onto the backboard, looking for it to waterfall. Awesome following up, takes it out of the path of Tommy, and Fark here has the opportunity to score. Sushi, no boost, can't find the bottom corner.
Oh no. Oh my goodness me. Oh, we're going to go full in on the football analogy. It's like watching Liverpool about 6 years ago, but on both sides of the ball. There is defensive mishaps and just fires to put out left, right and centre from both teams at the moment. It must be said, neither team looking particularly set and entertaining, but my God, is it dramatic.
Yeah, and Cantwell just up trying to challenge that one. Tommy looking for the shot on target. Fortunately for him, goes towards Sushi. Sushi with a bump onto Cantwell. The flick out, actually managing to make it a relatively good pass, but Tommy not following up. Probably the right decision as Cantwell challenges Tommy. Cantwell's going to be looking for the middle now, and Sushi with the block. Awesome following, but Fark there first, getting that second touch as well, and that's a dangerous challenge as it goes center, and Cantwell looking for the goal, and Tommy's able to get the clear on it.
UEA looking cold. They'll get the goal back, but they haven't been playing as well as they would like. And I think, of course, we're all sat here going, we know little about this Northgate team. What an enigma. They don't really, feature on our radar. Be interesting to know, of course, having not spoken to these Northgate players, how much they know about the people they're playing. I think if they know relatively little and they think this is what UEA are like, they'll be in for a shock as this series progresses.
Yeah, Tommy getting a good pass over to Sushi into that centre field. Looking to get the shot, but Fark is there. Easy close down for him. Awesome doesn't have the boost now. Needs to just rotate out because that is a wasteful position to be in. Doesn't check the corner boost clearly. And now as it goes back, Sushi, he gets the touch, but it's not a good one. But fortunately for him, Fark has missed completely. But Sushi just wasting possession. It's just unfortunate. And I can't believe what I'm seeing at the moment, because as it stands, I think it's worth noting that actually Don't Panic are holding their own in this game. They have picked up the pace tenfold in comparison to what they were doing previously, but through Preem coming over the top, and it really is Castle's Curse, isn't it? KJJC with a great pass off onto the corner. Sushi is never going to be faster than Supreme there. Supreme in the perfect position, and the goal to take it 2-1, and you do feel sorry for this Don't Panic team. You do, although maybe I'm presumptuous, saying about their lack of research. Getting cold on the back end here as a fantastic save comes out from Sushi that they looked at every video they could find of UEA. Hasn't worked out for them just yet as they're 3-1 down in game one. It's not a fantastic touch. It's really not. The 3-1 coming through, and it is off a little bit of a misplay, shall we say, on the defense, and that's the fake, and they're seeing if it'll work. Sushi might have the drop down to Awesome, but it's not the greatest of hits, but a good block, and Pookie following that one up as Cantwell makes a misplay, and following quickly is Sushi, but Sushi not the hardest of shots, and UEA keeping a man back in defense. No real issue for them.
As the final 10 seconds tick down, looks fairly certain that this UEA team has taken game one, and I think it's safe to say, even this week, it's not the best we've seen UEA play. They were certainly much hotter than this. As Sushi takes a restart, maybe we'll see him come back in better form, having a bit of technical difficulty, but interesting. This East Anglia team, obviously taking game one, they didn't look as convincing as we've seen them be.
They didn't. I think we've seen Don't Panic in obviously the past two matches. They haven't played as well as they've played here, in my opinion. They played absolutely fantastic. They shut down UEA at every opportunity. UEA, it almost feels like, went into this a little bit underprepared, expecting to just win, so they've done no research. But like you were going to mention in the match, Northgate asked Scenarius, who who is one of the people who would have all of the replays for
good
UEA,
person to ask.
They asked them for every video of UEA that Cenarius had. Now,
Impressive.
That is actual research. That is what I want to point out your managers do. This is what your sports coaches, this is what your sports managers, anybody who is in those upper echelons of any game, whether it's esports or whether it's physical sports, they will tell you that what you do is you always gather as much information as you can on your teammates. There will never be a time where you should walk into a match and say, I know nothing. I know nothing about these guys, unless you're somebody like Don't Panic, where the replays aren't available. You can't get those replays. They're not to hand. The fact that Don't Panic have come in with that mindset, that is already a mindset above most of the university players. And that's no discredit to the university players, but they're just high-level players that have found other high-level players and play in matches each week. To ask for your team for information on another team and have their videos and watch their videos and review their videos, that's something different. That is a whole different level of preparation and something that hopefully we're okay to see in the future, because that would be great to bring into the university scene.
It would. I mean, you see it in, like you say, traditional sports, esports, all manner of things. Teams who are becoming increasingly aware. It's certainly, I think it's fair to say, a fairly modern concept. The idea of this, what's often termed sports psychology, the kind of research and mental aspect of the game, and I think it's one of the key things that separates the best from the rest in all manner of sports. And we've seen football teams like Liverpool do it to fantastic effect recently. Just as soon as teams start banking on these kind of things, and obviously those teams have the money as well as the time to put into those kind of things, then it's one of the best ways you can spend at the high level.
It really is the best way you can spend your time. If you're not doing anything, especially as a team, not only should you be reviewing footage of your opponents, you should be reviewing footage of yourselves, which I feel a lot of teams don't do. But I definitely feel like if Don't Panic are going through the effort of reviewing UEA, they're definitely going to go through this VOD, watch how they played on stream, and hopefully they'll listen back and just take heed some of the advice that we've been given to them. But unfortunate play there from Awesome, not able to get the block on. Tommy not able to get the touch as well, and Supreme might look to take this away, but Dizzy getting bumped, spending way too much time deliberating on what to do with that ball there. But Sushi gets an absolute boomer of a clear and just clears it into that bottom corner. But Pookie is able to do exactly the same thing, and with no defender, it might be a relatively easy goal, and it is. And that is the level of patience that you need at the high ranks. That just shows the communications were there and showed that he was told, don't worry, you've got time, nobody's on you.
Yeah, Awesome will feel a bit unlucky. He knew that he'd have to just take a guess at which side he was going to spawn on and hope he was driving for the goal. He guessed wrong, but I'm afraid Tommy's really the one at fault on that play. Just dived in off the wall and was caught out and left his teammates in a very sticky situation.
And as Tommy gets a great hit off on to the corner wall, looks to get that second touch. Sushi following up, can't make contact. And that's something that I've noticed this Don't Panic team doing quite a lot. They're actually very good at passing the ball into their own areas where it takes all of the danger away, and that's something we don't always see. But just there, the misplay on defense from Awesome, isn't able to get the touch. The sorry coming in chat, but Dizzy Fark, a good enough pass. I'm not going to say it was great, probably shouldn't be following it up. KJJC has it there, but nevertheless, easy goal from them off of a slight misplay. It's unfortunate on defense, but 2 goals to the good now for this UEA team.
Yeah, it's a bit of a shame. I think maybe a little bit of fatigue setting in now. These guys have played that fantastic save from Awesome. These guys have played obviously quite a lot of high-level Rocket League, and it's only getting higher and higher, and these kinds of little mistakes are really beginning to creep in now. But I mean, this is game number 10 or maybe even 11 now, if my math serves me right. So to be still playing to this standard after that many games with so few breaks as well is fantastic.
And that really is it. These guys have just had to play back to back to back. And Sushi with the double touch gets it perfect. And for anybody who said that Switch's double touch should have been saved earlier,
Oh my.
We said if you get a higher level team in goal, maybe they'll save it. KJJC is a 1900 player, okay? This isn't somebody who doesn't know how to play the game, okay? This is somebody who is well in those upper echelons, those ranks of the gods, reserved for only the best players. Even he couldn't save that. Sushi, fantastic double touch, my man.
It was great. And, you know, I think the unknown quantity factor, we called it, must have been over an hour ago. The fact that, you know, chaos, 6s and 7s on both sides, but we did call it. We said, you know, the fact that these players are unknown to the UEA boys will mean that players like KJ rotating into net, sees Sushi freestyling through the air to try and get back to that ball, they'll go, "Oh, chance, well, what are you doing? You're not scoring that." And then he does. And then KJ sits there, like we said he would, and goes, "Oh. Won't happen again, I don't think. I think, like we said at the time, this is the kind of, oh my goodness, we're not going to get back to it, but that would have been special." I think Boys in Orange have used that card now. I don't think they're going to get it back, and I don't think they'll get this game back either as UEA retake the 2-goal lead.
And this wasn't really the greatest of touches out, we'll say, from Awesome. A little bit rushed,
quite.
But still, if you're going to make a play like that, somebody has to get back. They've got to be in goal, and they've got to be prepared for that eventuality that actually it's not the greatest hit out, but that's okay. It shouldn't cost us a goal because somebody should be in defense, but instead they're not. It's very unfortunate. Sushi, though, still trying to keep this pressure alive, still trying to keep the pressure on, does not want to lose this game as well. Going into it, needing a reverse sweep is always difficult. Sushi, not the greatest of shots, and that's going to be 4-1, and this game is written. It's done. It's finished.
Yeah, a minute to go. Northgate have, I don't think, scored more than a couple of goals in more than a couple of games so far in this series, but you know, it's one of them. It's a learning experience. You know, you only get better by playing teams better than you. If Northgate just plays Cambridge 3 times in a row, that probably wouldn't be as useful an experience. It would be maybe more fun in the moment, taking, you know, the nice victory, and they'd feel good about themselves. Would they learn very much? Probably not. This will be invaluable to them as they progress as a team.
It really will be. And it'll be nice to see how they look back on this and say, what could we have done differently? What should we have done differently? Did we ever stand a chance of winning? But that, the 5th goal, is just easy now for them. Sushi, really not the greatest touch off of that sidewall, puts it perfectly into the path of KJJC. But I'm not going to discredit that Don't Panic team there, because that was a great placement shot from KJJC. Stood absolutely no chance of being saved. There was nobody in that area of the goal. Even if they'd all had 100 boosts, the positioning just wasn't quite there. But the backboard hit coming through, and Awesome looking for the goal, and that was a sublime team play. And the pass coming through from Sushi, Awesome picking up the 100, going back for the ball. The demo coming through from Sushi as well. We said earlier he reminded us of Instinct, and that is an Instinct play right there. That is literally exactly what he would be doing.
Yeah, it really is. And you know, at this point, Sushi puts in a third. Would be a comeback and a half, but I'm not going to get my hopes up just yet. But you know, I think obviously if this game does go in favour of East Anglia, the possibility of a sweep is certainly there. Might not be a certainty, but it's there definitely. And I think that would be slightly unfair on these guys. You know, they've played really well, and they're making a game out of this despite being 4 goals down with less than a minute to go. So I think a 3-0 would not represent how well they've played today, and they can still take away the fact that some of the players they've come out with against this, you know, by our most recent barometer, top 10, top 12 team in Britain, we can they can take good solace from the fact that they've taken this game so far.
They really can, but as KJJC looks to put another one on target, and with only 10 seconds left, the pass is going to come through.
Oh,
but Supreme getting a little bit greedy. Sushi needs to get this one out, but instead Fark puts it straight into the back of an open net, and 6-4 closes out the game. But fair play to the resiliency of this Don't Panic team, because even at 5-1 down, they still managed to pull it back to 5-4 with 3 mental kickoff goals. And that's insane. That's crazy.
Yeah, no, it was brilliant play from them, you know. And like I was saying, this turns into a 3-0. they can still leave that with their heads held high. We see quite a lot, in Rocket League. If you win 60% of your games, you'll take a 3-0 sweep from time to time, and it's not representative of how close these two teams actually are. It just means that in each game they play, each of the times that they've matched up, one team is slightly better than the other. The way it comes out on the scoreboard makes it seem, one team's quite clearly better than the other, but I don't think that's really fair to say about the boys in orange at the moment.
No, nor do I. And actually, Tommy being down there with less than 100 points, I'm actually going to comment on that because I don't feel like that is representative of how Tommy played in that game. The rotations were a lot better than what they've been in the past. Now, I don't know how much people agree with this, but it tends to be, and this is God's honest truth, it tends to be accepted across most practices, most skills, most expertise. You get worse before you get to those master ranks, before you get better, because you start focusing on things that you're doing wrong, improving them, and while you're doing that, you focus on that, and you lose a lot of games, or you lose a lot of things that you maybe shouldn't be losing, but then eventually the skill increases dramatically. And I almost feel like Don't Panic have done that, because that game they played a little bit worse in terms of actual focus than we've seen them play in the past, maybe. But their rotations were arguably one of the best we've seen so far on stream.
Yeah, definitely. I think as this game and this set of series has gone on for the team from Northgate here, they've really shown themselves to be, top class contenders. And I'm not surprised, based on what we've seen tonight, that they did come all the way into the finals of the BEA. And I like you were saying before, you can see them, if they can keep putting the work in, going a long way in NSE teams in the future.
And as KJC gets a little bit greedy, taking it off of Thupreme, but Fart can't find the goal, unfortunately. Infield pass coming from Pookie to Cantwell. Cantwell's going to look to try and keep this going. As Pookie goes up, the shot coming through, but the block a better one. Sushi just trying to disrupt Dizzy a little bit there, as Cantwell still looking to go for it. He's going to look to recover on the wall, but will probably look to rotate out. Instead, looks to rotate up and get the bump. And the demo, maybe not the wisest of decisions, really wasn't that necessary. The play wasn't developing well enough to warrant, I think, coming out of position that far for a demo. But like you say, big miss coming through, but a big double commit from Tommy and Sushi. And this is going to make it difficult for them to recover.
Well, Awesome's done well to buy his teammates time there. He pushed up. He knew that his teammates would be low on boost and no one would push up with him. So he's just waited it out, played the slow ball. Done expertly well, but they've just got themselves in exactly the same hot water again. Not worth learning how to recover from mistakes as much as it is learning how not to make them at all.
And as Sushi just backflips it over, Cantwell looking straight for the goal. We like to see the passing plays coming through a bit more often than just simple shots, because it's almost not really respecting your opposition there, and they're going to be potentially punished for it. But not as Sushi and Tommy bump each other. And we're going to be seeing Cantwell going for another shot. Pass really needs to start coming through from this team, because as much as I hate to say it, I love how Don't Panic are playing at the moment. I love the fact that Don't Panic are really trying to make plays. But they could easily be torn down by simple Rocket League from this UEA team. And UEA are just trying to be a bit too fancy, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's in many ways the reverse of what we saw when this Northgate side took on Cambridge. They tried too hard. They went for really fancy things, and then in the end, what decided the series were some simple off-backboard plays that they just got back too quicker. And I said at the time, if Northgate take that on board and realise that that's what they need to repeat to win, it will be curtains. If UEA do the same now, I think I can say the same for this team.
100%, but Thupreme coming in with the shot, almost bouncing in, and to be fair, that's a great save, but Dizzy is going to be able to get the shot, and it looked like it should be going in, and I have no idea what this UEA team is doing right now, but they should definitely have got a goal, but Tommy is going to be allowed the credit to take it off the wall, misses Dizzy Fark, still trying to land on it, manages to, and it's lucky because with zero boost, it looked like he wasn't going to be able to get the second touch. At this point in time, Dizzy Fark is just free falling. That is just pure luck, as it were to say. No boost means no position being able to change, and Cantwell just coming through, hits it off of the crossbar and then gets a touch as it falls back down. But you do feel sorry for him. Sushi going for his fast kickoff again. It's going to leave Awesome in a difficult position. They're getting faked out by Dizzy, and Dizzy getting bumped, and that is a really fortunate bump because it takes away all of that pressure.
Speaking of fortune, I think KJ can call himself a lucky man there. That's not how the Northgate boys will want to have conceded that goal, because by rights that should have just come off the crossbar, but obviously I think that was within KJ's power to score, and so probably deserved. The fact that the boys in orange are still leaving themselves open on defence is just going to cost them more and more in the long run.
It is Norson trying to get this ball out of harm's way as Sushi looks to take up into the corner, but with zero boost, Cantwell is going to be there to challenge early. The double commit coming through, and still no boost on the side of Sushi. Sushi now hunting for a pad, hunting for something, not really opting for those 12 boost pads, instead looking for the hundreds, and that could really be their downfall. They need to start utilizing the middle of the pitch a little bit better than what they're currently doing. I think it's worth saying, the majority of the play so far has been focused around the outer edges of the playing field. It hasn't really been focused too much on the center field, and that's something that, to really make any sort of damage in play against a really good team, you have to be able to use that better than them.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. And, you know, this team, they've done well, obviously. I mean, it's, you know, we can say it over and over again, but a 3-0 is not a fair representation of how well matched these teams were. UEA, I think it's fair to say, would have been very disappointed not to win. But I don't think a 3-1 or even maybe a 3-2 on a different day would have been beyond the realms of possibility for this Northgate team. I think a bit of fatigue setting in. The UEA team are obviously, I think, a slight touch above, but not enough that they would 3-0 every day of the week. I think if this series was played again on a day, we could easily have a very different.
I unfortunately, as much as I love the optimism, especially for Don't Panic, I have unfortunately got to disagree. Only because UEA have such a high caliber of team. I would always expect, at this point in time, with Don't Panic not having much time to have played together, they don't go to university together. Obviously, full-time schooling is a lot different to university, it's worth noting.
Yep.
But you don't have that opportunity in the middle of the day if you don't want to go to a lecture to just go and jump on Rocket League. Like, you don't have that ability. Whereas
your teacher would notice.
Your teacher would definitely notice if you just suddenly pulled that out in class, pulled out your laptop and just started playing on Rocket League. I think somebody would start questioning it. But this UEA team, I'm not going to lie, I fully expected them to 3-0 sweep, and I would expect them to 3-0 sweep again. That's not discrediting Don't Panic. Don't Panic are a fantastic team. But when you're coming up against one of the best out of the university teams, like this is a team, okay, 22nd in the NSC Spring Championship or whatever it was.
Not representative.
No, it's just not, because this is definitely a national caliber team.
Yeah.
This is one of the teams that should, in theory, be in the top 12. So do I expect Don't Panic to win? Well, of course I don't.
Well, no.
It's as simple as that. It's unfortunate that they didn't, because we would have loved to have seen the underdog take it. But at the very end of the day, there is a clear skill gap in that. And it went to show, because that, for anybody watching, that still wasn't UEA performing how they normally perform. That was definitely UEA geared down from what they are currently. And I apologize, National isn't top 12, it's top 18. That's my own mistake. I'm getting those mixed up with
that's from the stay at home
with something else. Yeah, stay at home, sorry. Top 12, yeah. So Sin saying in the background, top 12 would be a bit of a stretch for these guys. I'm not entirely sure. I think with a bit more playing together, I think they could challenge the top 12. Personal opinions, obviously.
I believe they have no graduates as well, which will put them in good stead. We see a lot of high caliber players going to be leaving this year, so you know, I think there would be scope for them, like you say, to push on up. And I think it's worth mentioning, as we sort of pivot away from the Northgate team, Don't Panic here, we've seen all we're going to see of them tonight. Anyone who comes in and looks at this in comparison to the Sunderland scores, if you just look at the scores, you'll get a very unrepresentative picture because, well, I mean, for a couple of reasons. Firstly, because I think it's fair to say everyone could see Newcastle weren't really fully out to play in the Sunderland series.
Yeah.
That going to 5 games was not at all representative of a fully competitive match. I mean, that's obviously whatever, and they both had a good time playing and they all seem to do it in good spirits, but the scores don't reflect the fact that Don't Panic are, I think, really on par with the Sunderland series. And I think these two teams, obviously first and second is as big a gap as it needs to be in sports. That if someone has to win, and many people have said you don't really get much for coming in second, but
yeah,
a Panic team on a different day, maybe not East Anglia, but certainly Sunderland. I think these teams are very close, and the depth in this BEA, scene, as it were, just even having these two teams being able to take on, because say what you like about the Sears and the Newcastle series, they beat Durham fair and square. That was not any kind of, throw or bad afternoon for anyone. It was just a sort of a very well played series, and I think, East Anglia, a stretch. Essex on a different day could easily have fallen to the Panic team.
Yeah, and then obviously we're going to mention it. Credit to Don't Panic. You played absolutely fantastic. It was great to see the caliber of players you guys have. I was really impressed with the team plays that you guys come out with. I will obviously say, you guys, whatever you do in the future to try and pick up the pace ever so slightly when you're playing some of the higher teams. You did that really well against UEA, but then you started to lose. I think it's fair to say the rotations towards the latter end of the match, or the latter end of the series. Yeah. Just be confident. You guys have the ability to beat teams like this. Just fully go out and believe that. Like, yes, they might be high level players, but lose some of the lose some of the humbleness.
The inhibitions.
So start going out and saying, actually, you know what? Yeah, I can play this game. Like I am good enough to play this game. I'm good enough to beat this team. We all are. And if you believe that, I genuinely think you guys will be a real team to be messed with. But coming up next, Liverpool John Moores University facing off against Hearts. So that's Stock, Preed, Cosmico facing off against Huey, Hades, and Friday. Now this is going to be a good game. This is going to be a good battle. I can't comment on how these guys have faced up against each other previously, but
because they haven't really.
These two teams though, this is going to be something quite spectacular to watch. If you guys are around, definitely be there. Okay, Pred. I'm going to say Pred because
you've been lanced in the chat.
I'm being lanced, but I'm going to say Pred because now that I've said it, I'm not making the same mistake with Lexino that I made. I'm not saying the Nexo. I'm sticking with Pred. Pred, you change your name. You add that second E before this match comes in. I'm going to be disappointed with you. But honestly, we're running a little bit behind. Anyway, so we're going to get cutting to a short break, and then we'll be right with you with the matchup. Don't go anywhere. We hope to see you around still. Hello, everybody, and welcome back, where we're going to be seeing a show match going down between the NSC Southern and Northern Regional Champions. That is Hertfordshire White, not blue, not red, not green, yellow, black, pink, white.
Heart white.
This is Liverpool John Moores University. I am the Killsync, the one and only, and I'm joined by Actional number 2, not the number 1.
Well, no, there is, we discovered on a Rocket Kingdom tweet a couple of weeks ago that there is actually an Actional, which I didn't know, because who would choose to name themselves other than a stupid 9-year-old who's had to stick with it for the rest of his life? But apparently there is one, and so yes, clearly we're going to be looking for best of sevens now in this series between Hearts White and LVMU.
Best of sevens, then. Who do you think is going to win? Go on. I want to hear your predictions for this match.
Oh, it's very, very hard to tell. South historically have the edge, you know. This was a Sky Sports production. We'd be looking at, stats since 1930 or whatever, and South probably have about 60% of the wins in this format. They normally win. Unfortunately, for people from Sheffield, against Shooting Stars. But this time, really hard to tell. I don't think anyone has been to a promotion final and not made it to nationals more than this LTMU team. And for a team that was completely new this season, it's an amazing start. With the depth of National League that we saw from this spring split, we are really, struggling not to see this team do better than they are. They are looking like what would have been, even just last split, a national caliber team, as you're being rinsed in the game chat. So why don't we just get them going so that they stop bullying you and we can start playing.
Yeah, these two teams really are just trying to throw me off my groove. It won't happen. I'm going to slip my hair back. I'm going to rub my fake beard that no longer exists. And I'm going to just be happy with the fact that if this game goes the way of Hertfordshire, Stock, it's your fault for telling me not to laugh, okay? Okay, we're blaming you completely. But as we get this first game potentially underway, I'm not sure what these guys are doing here. Okay, you know what? I think they're just accepting it. They're just allowing this to go. We've got Pred, who's trying to get the early shot on as Stock, pushing it over into the corner, looking for the pass in field, can't find it. Gets the demo on the rotation. Alba Hades just flicking it over Cosmico. Pred there, though, to shut that one down, allowing the ball just to be played off of his roof by Huey, and 2 commits, 3 commits coming the way of this LMJU team, and somehow they've kept the ball out.
Yeah, that was, game 1 nerves again. Both sides there as doubles and triple commits fly by, and Fred has gone a little bit far, but, I think this game is probably going to be the most even game that we see, with the possible exception of that Essex series we saw Northgate do. I think both of these teams obviously very well matched, because the NSC format is designed to make the top 16 what it is over time. You start even on the North and South, but after a while, the teams that just miss out should be just missing out for the same reason, and these two teams will be very close.
Yeah, Huey with the beautiful topper. We'll call him Jacob number 2.
Car.
Why not? Hades just trying to put it centre for Elements, and Huey there with the block. Cosmico might like to put this centre, though. Does so. Just goes over the top of Hades, but Hades just manages to get a little bit of a flick, and this is going to be problematic. Hades, though, having the 100 boost and able to get a decent clear, but tripping each other up is Hades and Elements, as Elements gets damaged, and the follow needs to be there from somebody, and it is from Pred, but can't find it under the crossbar as Hades pops it high.
Both teams already doing some of the best passing we've seen all night. They really... Oh my! Stock knocks that one into the top left. I don't think anyone was expecting that.
No, that was an absolutely great shot. Just manages to beat out Huey, finds that inner post, and Hades just not there to follow up. It's just unreal play. Absolutely brilliant from them.
It was. And going back to what I was saying, with the passing, these two teams, particularly the boys in orange, but both these teams play well above what their rank might suggest, just because of the chemistry and ability of their team to link up and play well. The blue team are doing their best to prove me wrong by all following the same ball down the left-hand side of their pitch, but I'll stick to my point. They all know how to get a team play going, and especially John Moore's, we've seen scout teams much more sort of mechanically or in terms of MMR, much higher than them, although doing things like that won't help their cause.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to question this decision here from Stock. I mean, it probably wasn't wrong, shall we say, to put it...
To commit to it more.
Yeah, to put it over the goal. It probably wasn't the wrong decision to make, but at the same time, you've got to get it over the goal. You can't afford to be putting it across it like that. Cosmico needs to get back for this, does so, pushes it into the corner, and I think Stock just managed to get that 100 boost out from underneath Hades' nose. Now Cosmico going up looking for that redirect, but Huey beating him out to it. Pred now looking for the touch center, and it's going to be left to Stock just facing off against Huey. A good 50 from Hades, might look for the shot as well, gets it, but Pred is there in goal, patiently waiting as Cosmico does a turn. Not really worthwhile, shall we say, but Cosmico making good play with this, gets the block as well. Stock's going to look to take it high, might look for the air dribble, gets it past one, can't get it past the second.
Yeah, Pred went straight for that, which is going to leave the boys in blue in a bit of an advantage, but didn't really use it very well, and Hades completely ruined it for the Hearts boys there. Leapt over elements to take a ball he didn't need to, and LJMU restore their lead.
Yeah, they didn't really seem to have too much of a problem with that. Pred knew full well that the goal was open and just immediately went for the shot, was credited with the goal for it. And 2-1 at minute 45 seconds remaining. It looks like LJMU might have this game under wraps. They do look like the stronger team. The only goal coming out of the way of a mishap from Stock. But overall, their rotations are that slight bit faster at the moment than this Hertfordshire Whites team. But honestly, it could go any way.
It could, and I'm going to make an observation that I recall being correct, but I'm not entirely sure, and I don't think anyone's really going to be able to prove me wrong, so I'm going to say it anyway. From what I remember of Hearts in the Southern Regionals, I'm pretty sure they didn't start a series by winning. I think on most cases it took at least one loss, and sometimes even two, before they kicked into gear, but I don't remember them winning a game one throughout that entire Southern Regional bracket. So the fact that this game one isn't exactly in their favour, not too alarming. Certainly plenty of scope for them to warm up yet, as Huey might need his hands to get there.
Yeah, Cosmico getting a good block out from underneath the opposition there. Goes for the shot on target, but Huey has hypothermic hands. Not entirely sure why that's the name. Probably because he has hypothermic hands, yeah, let's be completely honest. Cosmico popping it over to the side, looking to get the pass infield, hopefully, but instead, no, looking to take it solo, gets the flip reset, but doesn't do anything with it. Stock puts it off of the backboard. Pred not expecting the miss to come through, hadn't angled the car properly, wasn't ready to take the shot. Stock getting a good bump onto Elements, and Elements now completely out of the game as the shot comes through. Hades getting a good save, and Elements just there, just to drop it down. It's going to look to follow this back up, but instead allows Hades to take possession of the ball.
The last possession looks like it's going to be in blue favour here. Huey's no boost, but he'll get the ball, and there's a gap at the near post. Stock just manages to fill, but neither team looking as jittery. So far in every series we've watched, we've seen one team look a little shaky to begin with. They look nervous or a little bit cold or something. Both these teams looked fine. I think both have more to give, but both of these teams looked, cohesive enough to manage this game one without too many huge errors. I think the fact that Hertfordshire have lost game one shouldn't really worry them too much, particularly in the best of.
Yeah, I actually don't think it will bother them at all, really. At this point in time, in a best of seven, as you've mentioned, that this is, it doesn't really bother teams too much losing the first game. Obviously, you'd love to win the first game, like you'd love to just sweep a team. But losing the first one is obviously that little bit less detrimental than it is in any other best of series. Obviously, not any best of series which is higher. We're talking the standard best of fives, best of threes that teams play. One just isn't that damaging because the minute you start getting on a roll, and we've seen this from teams that have reverse swept in best of sevens before, and it has happened, it's very easy to pick up momentum, win the first match, win the second, and then think, oh, okay, we can probably just sweep here in the sense of we could probably just win 4 back-to-back. Yeah, and coast through it, yeah. And it happens more often than I think people actually look at. But the first game is obviously important for the momentum, and it'll be nice to see if LJMU can keep up the pace.
Yeah, one thing we have noticed about the Heart side, or I have certainly in previous casts, there's a bit of fragility. They don't seem to gain momentum as well as momentum seems to be applied against them. They are prone to mistakes, horrible ones like that, and that will be playing on Huey's mind for a big Stock will take the credit, but he had actually very little to do with it.
Yeah, Stock will definitely take the credit. Huey, I'm going to question there. What happened? Did he just turn off ball cam? Did he forget to turn on his monitor? What actually happened with regards to that play? I mean, I obviously don't mean it, Huey. It's meant in jest, but seriously, turn the monitor on and turn your controller on. No, I'm kidding again. But as obviously we get 20 seconds into this game, they're taking an early lead, and it looks like it might be a second. But Huey this time ready for the block, and in fact might be a transition to a counter attack. But Stock is going to look to just boom it back up. Going to be following this as well, looking for that backboard pass. Doesn't get it in the greatest positions, but Element has missed that. It's going to be another sidewall pass straight to Pred, and Pred is going to be able to find the goal, and that's 2-0 within the first minute of this game.
Yeah, it's not looking fantastic from Hearts at the moment. Hades in all sorts of awkward positions there on the front post and facing the wrong way, but you know, best of 7 format again. There's only so many more times I can say this, but only a minute into game 2. Not the end of the world yet for the boys in blue.
Yeah, ideally though, you'd definitely like to be trading games, but nevertheless, like you say, these guys aren't going to be too focused on that. As the miss comes through from Huey, Hades putting it into the midfield, and Cosmico is going to be there to follow that one. It gets the double jump as well, puts it just past Huey, and now the shot coming through. Maybe a better attempt would have been a pass there. Hades gets it over the top of Stock with the demo, and Huey taking it up on the left-hand wall, but doesn't really have somebody in the midfield. But a good pass off onto the backboard, and Elements almost found with that one. Stock really needs to recover well, as Preet is in an awkward position to save, and that was just too awkward to keep the ball out as the game goes to 2-1.
Yeah, it's better from the Hearts boys there. It's a well-placed shot. Fred could have probably done a bit better with that, but, you know, with a 2-goal lead already to start, I think fair to say that one mistake isn't going to cost the LJMU boys too much. But like you say, you know, the momentum's easy to get, but then the coasting is easy to start. So Cosmico and his team don't really want to start taking things too easy just because they've made a couple of runs.
Yeah, but they're definitely not. Cosmico up super early for that hit from Hades. And Hades, not the greatest to pass, instead finds Stock. Stock's going to look to follow this one up. Off onto the backboard. Just a little bit too tough for any of his team to be able to hit, as Cosmico follows up Hades' touch, goes straight into the corner. Hades will be able to get this one clear, but drops it straight into the path of Stock. Stock slowing it down for Cosmico. Cosmico off onto the sidewalk, going to look to follow that one. Dips it over Huey, and Cosmico can't get the jump as Huey manages to find the ball out.
That was good. Huey has some time here. Doesn't really have much boost, and there's no concerted. The Hearts boys aren't really pushing out as a unit. It's to be one person's going to take the ball on the vanguard run. Not really getting very far with it at the moment, which is odd because Hearts are one of the better passing teams, but I think John Moores are really only one of the few that could be said to be better.
Completely true, as Hugh pushes it over towards Element with the 100. And let's take it up at the sidewall, but doesn't really do too much with it. Instead finds the path of Stock. Cosmico up early. Stock's probably looking to take out the last defender. Doesn't even need to. Goal's completely open. Not sure what happened there. I don't actually know if Stock managed to find that last defender, but was hunting for him and then realized, hey, nobody's here.
Yeah, I mean, it was, I think, probably about as much of a shock to him as it was to us that no one had managed to make it back. Even on the replay, couldn't see where the rotation had quite gone wrong, but clearly something quite clicked for the Hearts team there. But, you know, there's still time left in this game, and I think getting 2, especially if one comes in like that, Elements gets the credit, but again, bit of help from the opposition.
Yeah, and this was just one of those moments where you really shouldn't be flipping back towards your own goal when somebody is clearing the ball, because you do run the risk of that. I mean, it's a one in 100 chance of it happening, but unfortunately, the time it happens, it brings the deficit within 1, and that's problematic somewhat for Liverpool John Moores, but Cosmico now just needs to get out of the way of Stock. Stock was looking to take it up the sidewall, but with Cosmico just getting in his way, didn't really have the opportunity. Elements has the boost to get the double touch, but not the initial pass. And Cosmico, great recovery on the sidewall there. Is going to look to pick up the 100, but can't beat out Huey.
That's great work on defense from Cosmico. I'm pretty sure he was last line there, or at least the last one who could have done anything meaningful, and he called back there just in time. And I think communication battle certainly being won by the boys in orange here. They seem to be more aware of each other's mistakes and misplays and ready to respond.
Yeah, and as Cosmico now looking to try and make something of this play, Huey, a bit of an awkward positioning from him, but Elements manages to get the block on to Pred, and Huey with the follow-up. Pred again is just going to put it off over into the side. Going to look to follow this up as well. Cosmico dropping back down is going to pick up that 100 on the side potentially, but no, instead follows up the ball. Good decision from him. Stock going up early, beating out Elements. Elements coming back down, realizing he's been beat to that ball. A misplay from Hades, and it's going to be another goal as another misplay comes from Huey on the defense.
Boost management from Hearts is very questionable. Elements just drives around that boost. He didn't, he had some, but not plenty of boost. And I don't know if he was planning on leaving it for a teammate, but there was an LJMU player right behind him who was just going to take that all day long. So Hearts need to get a bit better at controlling their own back boosts and using that to push out.
Yeah, Stock getting a relatively good hit off the ceiling, but he goes straight into the path of Huey as Huey looks to follow up, get that pass into center, does so to Elements, and they can't save that one out. That was a fantastic play from Huey all round, popping it into that corner and then following it up and getting the pass as well. Absolutely fantastic. But Cosmico and Pred shouldn't really be chasing each other.
Close.
Yeah, shouldn't really be chasing each other that much, it's got to be said.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of them, isn't it? You say brilliant pass, it was a fantastic pass. Unsavable, yes, from where the LJMU boys started. Had they started in what would be called the right place, as Huey levels the game of 40 seconds. It's the positioning that's catching the orange team out at the moment.
Yeah, and it was actually really unfortunate from Stock there, expecting Hades to hit it. The minute he realizes Hades hasn't, tries to just back out, knowing full well it's just going to get passed straight to Huey, does so, and now 4 apiece in what looked like was going to be an LJMU match, and now it's all in the balance.
It is, and it would be a big confidence boost for Hearts to have turned this around, because they were behind for a large majority of the game, and by 1 for a large majority of the game. So to have this one end up in their favour would really set us up a great series.
And I've got to admit, Stock going in for the musty flick earlier was quite a delight to see, because it really wasn't that successful. Actually, it was quite amusing to watch. But don't worry, we know your intentions. Great pass into center, and Stock gets bumped out by Hades, and Hades does not realize how important that decision making was right there.
Yeah, that's definitely saved his team there if we're going to overtime in game 2, but they're not out of the woods yet, the Hearts boys, and while they've got the first sign of offense, Huey might not be able to get that right back. Elements is up, but beaten out by an LJMU defender.
Yeah, Huey just trying to make something with that, but I'm not entirely sure what he's planning. As Cosmico looks for the block, gets it, and Stock now with the demo.
No.
That's probably going to be a goal. An easy pass into the midfield, and a fake coming through from Pred. We'll call it a fake. I don't know if it was just a miss, but I don't know how they haven't managed to score there. They had every opportunity to, and it just seems to have fallen short of the goal.
Yeah, that will be one that they'd want again, I think. Scout Sports boys, that was not pretty on offense, but Cosmico might get a chance to do it anyway. There it is, a 5 game. But Scout Sports take a 2-0 lead in the series.
And Scout Sports don't really look like they're faltering too much. Admittedly, they did allow 4 goals past them, but the 4 goals were questionable. I think, from what I've seen, Huey, even though absolutely dominating performance on the Hertfordshire team, the few mistakes that we saw him make, I don't want to point them out too much, because I feel
they did make the difference.
I feel like a mean person, we'll say, because we're on show. I feel like a meanie, so I'll say it like that. But what I will say is that I definitely don't expect to see those going forward.
No.
If we do, then I think it's fair to say Scout Sports are probably just going to win this, because those mistakes is exactly what cost them that game. Sorry, but it did. Like, facts are facts. It's just one of those situations.
Yeah, and I mean, it's awkward to sort of try and call that one, because I don't think anyone on that pitch in game 2 had a perfectly blameless game. There was some very questionable.
Definitely.
Positioning seems to be the main problem that both of these two teams have. Scout Sports are struggling with the sort of conventional positioning in that they're just sat at the front post for no reason whatsoever. And that was what got Elements to goal that got them back into this game on the side of Hearts. But Hearts, the positioning that they're struggling with is to do with the boost. They're not finding their own boosts. They're not finding the mid boosts if they need to. And I mean, obviously, I've not been watching out for it the whole time, but I don't recall having seen them take an LJMU back boost once. And the boost game is going to cost them goals because Scout Sports are getting their back boosts. We saw one of the goals, I couldn't tell you the number, there were so many in that game too, where Elements just drove around his back boost, went, I don't need it, I've got 50. Suddenly, Pred comes in with 10 and has his back left boost ready and waiting and just sets them up perfectly on the offense. Couldn't get through a whole evening without the server going down.
No, to be honest, if the server hadn't gone down, maybe we'd be rivaling Sunless Khan. But I think with regards to this match, LJMU, in my opinion, don't actually need to change anything. Personally, I feel like what they're doing is right. What they're doing is working, and this is something that we see from teams quite a lot. And it's worth noting we saw it from, and you don't like to bring it up, but we saw it from Nottingham Trent in, I think it was the 3rd and 4th place for the championship. They went completely up. They were dominant performance, and then they started getting a little bit relaxed, shall we say. They started going for a little more free-flowing gameplay. And you can't do that, because the minute you do that, it's hard to reset back into the mentality of the first couple of games that you win. Now, Scout Sports need to do exactly the same as what they're doing. They just need to continue playing as strong as they're currently playing. If they change up their play style, if they start going for more extreme plays, they start going for more extreme passes, extreme shots, they might find themselves getting beaten by this Hertfordshire team. And honestly, that's the only real way I see Hertfordshire winning many games out of this, because at the moment, Scout Sports are really looking quite strong.
They are. They're looking the more cohesive unit, and it's a shame because Hearts played very well. I must confess, the Northern Regionals I didn't catch much of from particularly the Scout Sports side. I went off in a half-point star and went out, but the Hertfordshire team I saw quite a lot of regionals, and this is certainly not their top tier play. You know, we were saying about East Anglia earlier. They had more to give. They didn't need to give it. Hearts do kind of need to give it at this point, and they definitely have more to give. So this game 3 will be a chance for them to show that.
Yeah, and obviously they then run the risk if they lose this game. This Hertfordshire white team, it's fully possible that they're going to get absolutely swept, because I don't think they will be able to pull back a 7 series like this. Stock recovering well, they're not able to get the shot. Pred getting the shot though, and Elements in a grog.
Yeah, well, it's bold.
In fact, I'm not sure. Oh no, that's just a standard Fennec. We're all right. I just assumed everybody was in weird cards because I saw the lovely little hat coming through from the final player. But yeah, the grog play pretty. I'd say pretty standard, but it's not good enough to block the entirety of the goal as Stock takes the first goal 35 seconds in from a poor pass from Hades to Elements. Elements not really in a position to receive it, and it just easy goal really.
Yeah, just disintegrated for the Hearts boys, and they put so much effort into calling Hearts white. They'll be Hearts blue in a bit because they're all getting hypothermia by the looks of it. Hades has now decided that he's got it as well, and maybe that had something to do with it, but that pass was just not quite there. It's just a matter of a few inches, but it was all that they needed to completely break down the defence from Hearts, and they're now 1 down.
And Elements going for this redirect, manages to find the hit. Pred not in the right direction at all, but manages to get the pass off onto the sidewall. Might be looking for a 50 with Elements, but Elements the stronger of the two there. Obviously, he's in a grog. Why would you even bother challenging it? But Stock looking for this pass center, gets it. Cosmico is there early, and I'm quite surprised Cosmico was actually able to read that, because arguably it actually wasn't the greatest of passes. Well, it wasn't exactly where he wanted it.
Further than it did.
It did look like it, didn't it?
Yeah.
It really did look like it. Cosmico again just looking to play that center. He's going to find this one though, and just off of the roof of Huey as he manages to take away pressure. Stock doesn't have the boost here to find the double touch. It drops straight in front of goal, but credit to LJMU. They shouldn't be pushing it, and they don't push it. Probably the correct decision.
Yeah, it's annoying. I've been on plenty of those on my own end before. It's annoying when you see a ball that you chose not to go for completely botched by the other team. But you're right. The odds game says no, you should not go for that ball because 9 times out of 10 it's going to get cleared straight over your head. If it doesn't, one occasion won't make a difference. But Hades isn't letting the hypothermia get to him as he levels it hard.
Yeah, and Hades there with an unbelievable shot, just managing to go underside and just getting that flick, just putting it into the right-hand corner. And to be honest, getting angles like that, you're pretty much always due to break down a team. Nobody ever expects consistent shots to come through, but we know Hades is one of the players that can do it relatively consistently, to be honest.
Yeah, and I mean, it's exactly the same caliber of play that we were talking about earlier when Switch made the touch. Once you get to a certain level, there are plays that will happen sometimes that you just cannot choose to expect. Because if you choose to expect them, you'll concede more than if you choose not to, because you'll just be standing on all sorts of wacky positions expecting, double flip reset aerial, double touches, or whatever it might be. So you just have to it's a sort of risk management to get into the higher levels. You have to make sure that the risk of it happening is minimal and position better than that on the front post.
Oh, Elements. Oh, that hurts. This is why you shouldn't have picked a Grog. It's just a little bit too fat to get off the ground, to be honest. It's like me trying to jump in basketball. It just doesn't work. Just get to that back post and just try and save it from there. But it is extremely unfortunate coming through, just popping it over the top of that final player. But I've got to admit, this Hertfordshire White team look a lot more comfortable and confident than they did in the first game. That's got to be said, even though they might not be winning. And as I say that, Hades gets a good pop up onto the back ball. But this is going to be a good pass infield, and Cosmico is up ridiculously early for that one. Stock's going to look to try and keep this alive. He's going to look to try and involve Cosmico again, no doubt, in a second. But no, Cosmico's just gone back and is looking to follow this one up, though. Again, good hit, and that is fast. But Pred is there with the follow-up, but the shot is just a little bit too weak to cause any hassle.
I'm interested now that you've made a basketball analogy. What is your basketballing equivalent to waiting on the back post? Do you staple yourself to the backboard? Just hang on it and hold one hand out, waiting for the ball?
Well, I mean, unfortunately in basketball, that is completely not allowed. So I'm not going to say that it's quite... And I'm not going to say it's quite my equivalent. I'm telling you, if you hang off the basketball rim when you're playing basketball, we've got some serious issues that we need to address with your style of play in different sports. But at this point in time, I mean, it just feels like the equivalent of just staying waiting in the D every so often, just dipping out just to see, is a shot coming? Is anybody there? And then just popping straight back into that D to try and stop it. But Huey almost finding a great pass down to Elements as Pred comes through with a boomer of a clear and a demo, as well as Stock goes for the backboard. Goes for it intentionally as well, looking for that pass, looking to cause a bit of commotion. Cosmico, great hit, is looking for the second touch, but Hades is beating him, and Pred, fortunately, even though he's coming in super aggressive and extremely quick, still manages to get that touch. Stock expecting Elements to get that. It's gone off of the backboard. Nobody's really challenging quickly enough as Hades gets it up, and it might be in. Elements can't fit it in.
Hades just put that ball straight onto the backboard. I don't know if he was low on boost. I didn't have cam on, but he could have followed that so easily, and he just chose not to. And with a goal down, less than 20 seconds to go, you've got to be pressuring. Oh no!
Oh no! At this point, what do you do if you're Hertfordshire White? The backflip coming out from Elements, and then Elements and Hades, neither of them can stop the ball from going through, and it's heartbreak for them with 11 seconds left. 11 seconds left. Sorry, it looks like Liverpool... It has been a long one, hasn't it? It looks like LJMU is going to be taking the victory in this game. Maybe I should just stop talking at 90 million miles an hour and just start talking like a regular human being. That might do it.
Yeah, you're talking English like Spanish people talk Spanish. It's quite impressive. Okay. It's been awesome. But
could you imagine?
I can. Really, I
genuinely can. Sell us off 386 points. 386 points to stop the Cosmico coming in with the 330. Pred. And it's just like, no.
Yeah, you could do that.
Shut up.
I don't know what you'd auction.
I'm going to auction the players. I'm going to auction them all off.
Yeah.
Stock, I'm not saying anything against you, but, no one's buying you.
No, unfortunately not. But
we'd obviously get people by.
I think we would. I mean, if we get around the ethical problems with
the ethical issues with selling people, but back to the game anyway. Let's
bit of a dangerous cul-de-sac that one.
3-0 now in the series, and do we think there is at all any chance that Hertfordshire are coming back?
I mean, this is the. I'll always remember our series, and I've now said that and can't remember the other team we were casting, when Lancers were swept. It was UWE, if I'm not incorrect, where we saw a reverse sweep in a best of 7, me and you. And we said it 3-0 down. That's it. What are we here for? We're just going to watch the game and it's going to be fine, and then we can go home and have a beer or whatever.
Yeah.
I can say this now, and I may well be right. With every game that Hearts win, the chance of them pulling it off, I mean, it's a stupid thing to say in one way, but the chance of them pulling off the reverse sweep increases exponentially with every game they win, because not only are they going, hang on, we've got 1, why can't we get 2? Or we've got 2, why can't we get 3? LJMU start going, hang on, they've got 2. Why aren't we winning this yet? And the panic starts creeping in, but with overextensions like that, you're going to make it very easy to be swept. Cosmico rolls it the length of the pitch as Hearts send everything in the kitchen sink.
I mean, that was just an absolute banger of a goal.
Yeah.
Unbelievable beauty from Cosmico. All 3 players in defence couldn't be saved. Oh, wait, no, hold on. I'm watching a completely different game. That was just a simple shot. Oh, well, what a shame. It looks like we'll go back to the realistic commentary of we really need this Hertfordshire team to just pick up the defence ever so slightly. It is still worth saying. They are still playing a good game. They're not playing terribly.
Yes.
But defensively, that was questionable.
And again, you know, I'll get started on my aphorisms and things early here. If this is a sweep, it's not reflective again, like it wasn't in the UEA series that we just. It's not reflective of the matchup between these two teams. That won't happen 100% of the time, and this time I think you will agree with me that on a different day, Hearts could really make a game out of this. At the moment, they haven't quite worked.
100%. In fact, on a different day, Hertfordshire would have the opportunity to win. Now, that's not saying that LJMU is worse than them. In this situation, LJMU have completely proven they are the better of the two teams. I'm sorry, but 3-0 in series and 1-0 in the game suggests that. But we know that a shot's going to be coming through right now, and Elements is able to get the save. Elements, weirdly enough, has changed up out of the grog. I'm not gonna question why that's happened, but I've got a feeling it's because the grog is absolutely
trash.
Questionable. Yep, trash. Yeah. I just wanted you to say. I didn't want to be toxic Terry on stream.
I'll have both of the world's grog mains come after me. That I can manage.
Yes, all of those grog mains.
Yeah, all 4 of them.
How dare they gang up on us? But stop putting it over one, getting the flip, trying to put it over the second one, and Elements is just there with the block on as Pred goes for it again. Good block in the midfield, but with 0 boost, is going to struggle getting back now. Hades have hypothermia head. Is how I'm going to refer to him now as a great pass comes through from Element, but can't squeeze it under the crossbar. And now Huey trying to keep it alive. And Hades might have the read on this one, but a good block coming through. And it's a shot coming through, but Cosmic are able to save. And Pred just looking for the doink. And Elements puts it straight into the path of Stock. Stock looking to put it into the middle. This is going to be a bit of a problem. He's dropped it straight out for Pred, but Elements can get the clear.
They don't. You know, you often say teams make things look easy, or professionals in a certain field make things look easy. Not to sound too mean, Hearts have had a bit of a habit in this series of making things look actually quite hard for themselves at the moment, and Scout Sports have had their moments as well, but on defence, Hearts, they get the job done in a very odd way, and as I say that, Scout Sports prove that anyone can have a defensive disaster.
Yeah, well, I mean, you said that Hertfordshire get it done in a very weird way. That's one way to do it. Get yourself demoed, block the line of sight for your opposition, and hope they score an own goal. That is a meta play I have yet to see incorporated into our LCS, and I don't know why, because frankly...
100% success rate.
Exactly. That's a great strategy. Why would you not do that?
Well, yeah, we should be informing G2 and everyone else straight away, because I think that one would be a staple play in the next meta if we get there. But Huey gets that. Oh, it wasn't Huey. My apologies. Elements gets that across to Hades. I'm seeing too many hypothermias confusing me. And nonetheless, despite all their hypothermia, Hearts 2-1 up in the game. Just over 2 minutes left.
Yeah, and Hearts have completely pulled it back in what looked like a questionable performance, shall we say, at the start has turned into a good one. And again, you know what? At this point, Hertfordshire are just saying, you know what? We're gonna let them play.
143.
We're just gonna let them play. We'll take shots, but we'll let LJMU finish it off because LJMU have been the better scorers as it stands. So just let them keep scoring. Technically, in this game, it is 3-1 in goals to this Hertfordshire White team, but it's also 3-1 in goals to Scouse Sports at this point in time as well. They have scored 3 goals to the 1. So at least we're given some interesting performances.
Yeah, I mean, you know, Scouse Sports clearly not quite content with a sweep, although they might still pay very well to get back to that. It was exceedingly awkward. And just knocked that one a bit too far away. Did stop. Quite want the shot to end up like that, but again, Hearts making it a little bit harder. Perhaps is strictly necessary on this.
Yeah, and it's not the greatest of blocks, but Hades doesn't have any boost, and the double miss coming through means a big clear. Might have had the good opportunity to score a goal. Stop moving in just a little bit too quick, going for the shot, coming off of the backboard, and the miss is going to open it up to get the goal back, and 3-2 they trail now.
Not what you like to see from Hades. It's unfortunate, and Cosmico capitalises well, just squeezes that one in under the bar, but Hearts are being their own worst enemy on defence again.
And Hades, good kickoff from him, just going the way of this University of Hearts team. Elements can't find the target. Stock is going to be left trying to clear this one. Unfortunately for him, coming and bailing him out is Cosmico, as Stock again goes up off that backboard, looks to go up of that backboard, and just opts to come down off of it. Probably the better play. Bit of a misjump from him. It's unfortunate, but Element's not the greatest touch onto that backboard. It's going to leave it risky. It's going straight into the centre now. Cosmico had a good jump, and Hades just managing to clear it out into the path of Huey, but Huey needs to get a good block on here, and it's just not. And at the moment, Hertfordshire look a little bit like they're struggling, shall we say, in their defence.
Yeah, and Scouse Sports are really warming up here just in time, but Pred just side flipped away from that ball, and that might have cost them their last push, especially as that one rifles towards the back end of Scouse Sports there. But there's some air display from the boys in blue there as they bypass.
I've got to admit, I was questioning that decision there from Elements to jump in, especially with 2 men back. But I think that's actually what ended up taking it, was because nobody was expecting it.
No.
And as it all goes down, 3-1. Hertfordshire can bring this back now.
They can. And, that was better in parts. There's still certainly, as that first goal gets replayed on the screen, there's still certainly room for improvement, I think, from the boys in blue on the defensive side. Offensively, they've played well. They've created mistakes, Cosmico referencing some of the own goals in the chat there, but they've created mistakes on their own merit. Sometimes teams just make mistakes without any pressure, like we Switch bang a brilliant own goal into the top left without anyone near him. But these aren't that, like you say, a strange play from Hearts, particularly their second goal with the big demo and the odd rebound shot.
Yep. And then obviously
is a valid strategy at this level.
Yeah, and then obviously the third goal as well was it was a slow shot that ended up being flipped into by one of the Scouse Sports players and ended up being put into the bottom corner. Like, if you can get goals like that, though, you can get goals like that. That is anybody who says it's just luck, it's just this, it's just that. It's actually not. It's causing a lot of problems on the defense. It's causing a lot of hassle, a lot of pressure, and then capitalizing on the pressure. It doesn't matter if an own goal gets scored. If an own goal gets scored, you've got in somebody's head. Like, I will admit, there are some times where you look and you think, oh no, that's just a bit of a misplay. That's accidental. Yeah. But that being demoed there on the half of LJMU.
The smoke screen was very valid.
Yeah, the smoke screen was absolutely perfect. And although it was an LJMU player doing the demoing, getting in that position to be demoed is the way you want to go. But Cosmico coming in and scoring the first goal of the game after a demo from Stock. Stock then getting a great pass in, and 1-0, 7 seconds in.
Well, Scout Sports seem to have decided that they've had enough of this now. We'll have to see if they can take this in 5, but obviously, they've scored early, which is good in one sense, but it's good for Hearts as well. Now they have plenty of time left to figure it out. And they might have done it. Oh, Huey didn't touch that ball. Stock will knock back here a little unconvincingly, but it's worked probably more than it had any right to.
Yeah, and as obviously Demo's coming through there, Element managing to put it off onto the sidewall, but up early is Cosmico, who misses completely, but a good block from Freed on to the opposition, and as the ball gets flicked onto the back post, Huey needs to get the clear and does so onto the sidewall.
I still think both teams will be slightly unhappy with the caliber of play. It's become a bit of a scrappy series. We're seeing both teams sort of make mistakes and then make counter mistakes based on the fact that the other team is doing things they don't expect. There are flashes of brilliance, but neither team playing at full 100% just yet.
Yeah, and as you say that, Preed now coming in, just trying to bail out his team, but it's just consistently going as Cosmico drops it in front for Element, and Elements just can't get the ball into the goal. Stock passing it over, doesn't realise Element's there. Cosmico up early, does realise there's a player there though. But the shot coming through, super powerful. Pred manages to get one save. The ball will still go in the net as Huey gets the first goal in this game for this Hertfordshire team.
Yeah, Pred, I said great save. Looking at it again, I'm entirely sure he was already set in net and he could have clipped that away into the corner rather than just banging it up into the ceiling. So it's just come straight back down. Gives Hearts that opportunity.
Yeah, it does absolutely give the opportunity as Elements now trying to pass forward, just get some of this pressure back onto the defense, just like they've been doing in the game so far. Stock is up early though, and a double commit coming from Elements and Hades, as Elements might look to go off of this, but that is slow, and Cosmico had every opportunity to score there. Gets passed off of the backboard. Huey needs to get this, clears it onto the sidewall, and instead it's cleared into a danger zone for this Hertfordshire team, but a good clear from Hades, and Cosmico just with the patience just to take it out, takes one man out of the play. Elements is going to look to try and give this to Huey, but Huey's taking a bit too long challenging that, and 2-1 now going the way of Scout Sports.
Breakdown in communication there from the boys in blue. Elements have really sold Huey short there, rotating back the other way, and Elements just didn't get the... I think he was trying to pop that down onto the floor and straight back, and it's always risky because you don't want to overhit that and just boom it into your own net with a fantastic joint, but equally you really don't want to underhit it either and let the attackers in like that.
You really don't. And Pred now just putting that over into the corner. Cosmico looking to get a pass off of the backboard, but Elements is just waiting there patiently, not allowing the ball to progress any further. Pred almost reading that one. Cosmico is going to be up. There's going to be a pass off of the backboard potentially, but instead looks in field and nobody expecting that one. It doesn't look like the comms was there for that pass. Stock looking to go for the double touch, but gets absolutely boomed out of his own area, puts it off onto the sidewall. This might roll up favorably for him, and it has done exactly that, looking potentially for the flip reset. Instead, just looking for goal, and Stock manages to score the third for Scout Sports, and they are looking in control of this match.
Yeah, it's a mind game supreme there from Stock. Just so many options he had there. He could have pushed it to the backboard. He could have gone for the flip reset, as you mentioned. Clearly that was in the mind of the blue defenders there as they rushed for the ball, and he just popped it over them gently and into the top left. Oh, this could be it. Oh, Cosmico pushed up a bit too.
Yeah, and now Huey looking to find the infield pass to Elements. Elements not managing to get a great touch. Huey again now looking to clear this out, finds the path of Hades. Hades looking to pop it back for Elements, but instead it goes to Stock. And Stock can't find the target as Huey takes it up and around the corner. Prid now off onto the backboard, looking for the double touch. Won't need it. Stock scores his second of the game. 4 goals to 1 now for Scout Sports, and Hertfordshire look all but beaten.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. I think that obviously the panic kind of sets in, time ticks down, you have to push up more to try and regain a foothold in the game, and as you do that, you leave yourself very open at back. But it's unfortunate for Hearts, but there is still time left, and we've seen them pull back goals faster than this, so you never know.
This is definitely not down and out just yet, but Hertfordshire need a wonder of a response at this point in time, because this is all against them as the pass comes from the backboard. Instead, the 50 leading the pass infield. Huey takes the shot, tries to just get the pressure on. Cosmico up ridiculously early, almost beating out Elements there, but Stock getting the touch off of the ceiling, and following this is Huey, but so is Elements, and taking them both out of the play. Now it's just going to be Hades versus Stock. Stock looking for the double, can't get it, but Pred with the follow instead. And that's everybody on the Scout Sports team contributing to a goal and scoring.
Yeah, and I mean, that's not particularly advisable, Fred, you wouldn't say, pushing it into the very edge of the half box there, but he knew he was going to get there first. Right, he was, and that's probably put this game and this series out of...
It's definitely one of those situations where, you know, if you're going for it, you have to get it. If you don't get it, that's going to be a definite counter-attack. Unfortunately for him, in the perfect position to get it that time, Elements looking to play it off on to that dangerous corner area, goes up high, and Huey trying to find the drop down, and somehow Stock managing to get the position to actually block the shot, as well as Cosmico comes in trying to help out Stock, and then Fred coming straight over the top of Stock. I'm not sure why the double commit was happening there, but with 25 seconds left, I think it's all but done now. I think this is fair to say Hertfordshire cannot pull this back now.
No, definitely not. But again, I think credit where credit's due, as that one slipped in on an unlucky bump. Hearts, you know, played well. And for those of you who didn't see the Southern Regional Finals and are wondering how this team managed to make it based off tonight's performance, trust me, they deserve to be here. They played amazingly well in the series that they did to get to this point. And it's just a bit of a shame for them, of course, that maybe today they haven't quite shown up to the extent that they'd like. But I think a worthy winner of the Southern Regionals, and we'll certainly see them competing at high levels again.
100% we'll be seeing them competing at high levels, and it's sad that they're going out to a 6-1 loss, because it's really not indicative of their performance. 6-2, no, it's still 6-1. Can't put it under the crossbar. I really thought that was going to be 6-2, to be honest. I was kind of hoping it would, just to at least get some sort of a consolation goal, but it was good to see, and it was still a good performance from them. But today, my word, Scout Sports, you turned up. You turned up, guys. I'm not going to deny. You really did. Fair play to you. Fair play completely.
No, definitely. And, you know, I think going forward, maybe not summer split. Summer split's always a little hard to predict. Obviously, a lot of people exams and deadlines and things, so it's very hard to see who's going to turn up and who won't. Going into the autumn split, I don't believe any of these three are graduating. This Scout Sports team could and probably should make nationals at least at some point in that next split.
Yeah, 100%. I don't see any reason why these guys wouldn't. Scout Sports came in and they absolutely dominated.
Yeah.
And that is something that is nice to see, because they really deserve to do it. They've been absolutely incredible so far, and with the performance they've put in, with the absolute shift they have put into this series, it's something that next year they could 100%, 1000% challenge some of the best players. They could,
and we've just been informed they are losing Pred, but like we're also being reminded, you know, there'll be recruitment, there'll be new freshers coming in, and I think the Scout Sports team will push on in the next split. But who knows? You know, there's going to be so much new talent coming in September that it's impossible.
Yeah, it is absolutely impossible. But for today, that is matches complete. We saw Don't Panic win one of the games that they played in, but definitely could have won two. The third game obviously was always going to be difficult. I'm not even going to pretend that they had a chance of winning that one. That was never going to be a winnable match, realistically. However, that being said, they still did a great job, still did a fantastic job in
they really did.
Performing, shall we say, to the best of their abilities. They showed us what some of the schools are capable of doing.
Yeah, between them and the Sunderland Sears, I must admit I am much more impressed and pleasantly surprised than I thought I would be by the standard of Rocket League that we're seeing in these schools. And I think, you know, these guys, they can find an NSE team to slot into that already has a little talent going. We'll see them again. I'm pretty confident of that.
Definitely. And with that, I'm going to say thank you and bid you adieu for about 5 seconds, because as I have realised, and thank you for chat pointing out, we're actually now in my stream.
Oh, there you go.
So get played, everybody. You see me. Everybody's just been playing.
A 3.5 hour long ploy to get Killsync for more followers.
See, this is what I did. I thought, you know what? I'll start casting at 6:15, and maybe if we finish at 9:30, everybody will just jump straight over into my stream. And I was just like, hey, look, it worked. But no, thank you obviously so much for Rocket Kingdom for doing that. It's always much appreciated. I'm going to be casting Valorant. I'm not even going to lie. I'm not good at Valorant. I'm actually relatively okay at Rocket League. But I'm just going to apologize for anybody who doesn't want to watch Valorant gameplay. Anybody who does, however, stick with me. I might even just pop a quick webcam thing up. Can I even do that? Video capture device? I can, apparently. I'm going to come off video on Discord, but I am going to get a video going for you guys because I feel like you just don't want to, you don't just want to not see me. Obviously, my beautiful face is here for a reason. If you didn't want to see it, well then you shouldn't have been here. Oh, that is a lot bigger than I thought it would be. Wow, that's not what I want. I want this one. Oh, look at that. That's sublime. Oh, guys, nobody told me I was actually beautiful. Whew. I'm allowed to say it now. I'm on my stream. Deal with it. Actually, where should I put me? Should I put me in the top left? Let's go top left. Right, and we'll do a quick transition. Oh.
Right, before we do that, I think it is worth signing off for those who've been watching Rocket Kingdom. And while I can only recommend that you would stay and watch some at least mediocre Valorant gameplay from our friend Killsync, I think it is worth wrapping up what we've seen. Like you say, the Don't Panic Boys played amazingly, and 1 out of 3, perhaps not completely reflective of how valiantly they fought in all of those series, but I think we'll definitely see them again. And kudos to both teams who played in our North v South show match there. I think, it's a bit harsh on Hearts. I think on a different day that very differently, but that will wrap up all the Rocket League we have for today. So I will leave you in Killsync's capable hands. Thank you very much for watching, and thanks for casting, Killsync.
Thank you very much. It's been absolutely wonderful, and I look forward to doing it again. But for now, I'm going to jump over to my Valorant's team, and we're going to get some games on the road for you guys.
Brilliant. All right, guys, I shall leave you in his capable company. Have a good evening, and catch us soon.